Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the race watch along for the 2025 Monaco Grand Prix. Sorry for the ever so slight delay there. I forgot to turn my lights on again, so I thought I'm going to pause. I'm going to turn them on and we're going to look half prepared for the start of the stream. So let's get it out of the way straight away. I'm wearing a Haas shirt today for two reasons. Firstly, that Ferrari one was way too hot yesterday. And secondly, and more importantly, I quite like the Haas wear. But also, if you want a third one, I've got a feeling we might see something special from Haas today with strategy. So let's wait and see what happens. Right from the start, you know what's coming. I'm going to say it because there's been a couple of people in chat wanting to know. So I'll say it right now. It's the only time I'm saying it. So mods, I'm going to leave it to you to sort out anybody else. But no actual track footage in the stream for what I personally think are perfectly obvious copyright reasons. I don't have the money to buy the rights for F1. Sky own them in the UK, F1 own them worldwide, and there's no way I can afford that. So it is what you see in front of you, basically. The timing from multi-view for F1 will have a track map going around as well, and that's all I can do. So just because some 15-year-old on Twitch thinks they can get away with it doesn't mean it's actually legal. So not here, I'm afraid. There you go, sorted. That's the only time I'm saying it. First moan out of the way. Let's have a look then. Let's do some shout-outs before we go any further, and then we'll have a look at the grid strategy, which, by the way, if you've not seen what Pirelli have said for strategy, it's actually quite funny. Hey to Sema, to Craig, to Tim, to Sighted Canvas, to Fud, to Annette, hey Annette, to Craig, twice Craig, there you go, to Pascal, to Alfie, to David, to Kevin, to Jonathan, hey Jonathan, hope you well, mate, to Mirko, to Lala B, to Ewan, And let's do another one where I saw you, Mark. There you go, Mark. Hey, Mark. And Vesk as well. Hope you both do well. Or you're all doing well today ahead of the Monaco Grand Prix. One that could be interesting. It may not be a standard Monaco, or it could be a standard Monaco just with an extra pit stop, which is still 2 more than last year, so we shouldn't really complain, should we? Too much. Martin doing his grid walk at the moment. We have got a grid. It has been confirmed by the FIA. There have been some changes since yesterday. So Lando Norris is still on pole with that lap record yesterday of 109.954. Charles Leclerc joining him on the front row. Oscar Piastri third for McLaren, with Max Verstappen promoted to 4th place. We'll get to that in a second. Isaac Hadjar 5th, Fernando Alonso 6th. Lewis Hamilton drops to 7th place. He did get a 3-place penalty for that, impeding at Massenet. We thought he might, didn't we, yesterday, chat? So maybe not a great surprise if that's the first time hearing that one today. So Lewis Hamilton down to 7th. Esteban Ocon 8th and Liam Lawson 9th, with Alex Albon 10th and Carlos Sainz in 11th. It's 12th for Yuki Tsunoda, 13th for Nico Hulkenberg, 14th for George Russell, with his teammate Kimi Antonelli just alongside him, 15th. Disappointing day, understatement there for Mercedes for one reason or another. Gabriel Bortoleto 16th, Pierre 17th, Franco Colapinto 18th. And then we had a bit of a debate yesterday about whether or not, or how they'd apply the penalties for Stroll and Bearman. Stroll got another penalty yesterday, 4 placed again as we expected, 4 in total, 3 for the impeding of Gasly and 1 for the collision with Leclerc in practice. Ollie Bearman got his as well. They decided to go with Lance Stroll 19th and Ollie Bearman 20th. I'm sure there is a reason behind that. I just can't be bothered to go look up in the regulations. I'll be honest, I'm really not that interested. It's just, I can't be bothered to sit and read their rules again. Strategy-wise, Pirelli say 3 different sets of tyres to use in Monaco Grand Prix with all compounds in play. Anything can happen. That's it. That is all they've said. Anything can happen. So, to confirm, you may have already heard as Michael McIntyre's on the grid. Sure. Not to drive, of course, but anything can happen. 2 pit stops mandatory for today. It's 2 different sets of or 3 different sets of tyres, but only 2 different compounds. So, for example, you could run 2 sets of the hards and a set of the mediums, or 2 mediums and a set of the hards, or a soft and a medium and then a hard. You do what you want, basically, as long as you use 2 different compounds and you pit twice. There is something I didn't pick up on yesterday, which I think we do need to talk about. Piastri, Norris, Leclerc, Hamilton have all got 2 sets of hards, a set of the mediums. Leclerc's actually got 2 sets of mediums, 1 new, 1 used, and they've got some softs as well. Verstappen, Tsunoda, where are you? Hadjar and Lawson only have 1 set of hards, 1 set of mediums, and then a load of softs. So, unless Red Bull... No, they will. They will have to use 1 set of each compound today in strategy, because they have to use 3 different sets of tyres. So they are going to have to go in some order, hard, medium and soft. So that has given us an opportunity to look... I'm having a moment. I thought that was Eddie Irvine. I didn't want to commit to it. That is Eddie Irvine on the grid. Sorry. So we may actually get a look at what this idea of using all sets of tyres might do for strategy, but it's not really put Red Bull in a great position, because that soft tyre probably not going to run all that far today. That said, actually, yesterday in qualifying, we were quite surprised, weren't we, how many laps were being done on that soft, in particular the first session. So maybe it'll go further than we're expecting. So yeah, that's going to be interesting for a Red Bull and Racing Bulls perspective. I think they're the only ones in that position. No, Hulkenberg's in that position too, as is Bortoleto. Ocon is as well. Oh no, he's got some mediums. Ignore that. Ocon isn't at all. So yeah, the Racing Bulls, the Red Bulls, and the Saubers are the ones in that position. So there we go. Could be interesting to see what happens there in terms of strategy. But 2 stops. A lot of people, journalists, pundits, teams as well, saying this could be a wild one. It could be crazy. It could be insane. Nobody knows what's going to happen on strategy. You know I'm skeptical. I'm not going over it again. I hope for the millionth time I'm proven completely wrong, and this is an absolute banger. But I still fear that it won't be. But hey, let's wait and see what happens. Happy to admit when I'm wrong if we're going to be the winners as fans. So hopefully it's going to be a corker today. But yeah, not great. Kevin says I didn't need more people on the grid. Yeah, I can see Marty could just about still move and breathe. So it's not cramped enough down there. Not like it used to be. Not like it used to be. He has already lost his mic pack, though, at one point. So that is already happening as he skips past Mohammed Ben Sulayem there. There you go. Let's see what you're saying in chat. There was a multi-car crash at the start of the F2 this morning. Yes, if you haven't seen the F2, I'd say don't bother, really, because it wasn't very long, was it? 17 laps in total on a timed race. 11 cars caught up in the first corner incident. 8 retired. Red flag, absolute chaos. And then crashes and long delays and all sorts in between. And then a perfectly timed safety car. Sorry, I saw Alex Brundle there on the grid. I thought he was going to talk to his dad then. He didn't. He kept going. Yeah, perfectly timed safety car for Jack Crawford, and not so much for those others at the front. And then we got penalties given out at the end, and then it was done on count back, which changed the order again. And yeah, it's just go read the result and look for replays of the crash. That's about it. Didn't catch the F3 though, so we'll see how we go. But yeah, I think this will be a little bit weird, Jonathan. It's going to be different. That's the key. It is going to be different, but just a reminder, Pirelli's official line on strategy is anything can happen. So we don't actually have any kind of this is how many pit stops we might get. So that's going to be fascinating, isn't it? To see how that all shakes out this afternoon. I'm hoping it works, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm keeping an eye on Martin because sometimes on these grid walks, things get relatively interesting, but I'm not listening to it, so I'm missing what they're saying though. So if you're going to make it a 2-stop, you may as well bring back refueling just for Monaco. Says John Jones. I don't think they'll ever do that though, mate, unfortunately. Do you think this race is going to be interesting due to this 2-stop? Says Suhan. I hope so. Still skeptical. Let's see what happens. I think what we need to look out for early doors is what Bearman and Stroll, for example, do at the back of the grid. I would be very surprised if they're not straight into the pits at the end of the first lap unless we get a red flag. I'd be very surprised. I expect, in fact, I would say Antonelli down, minimum. We'll at least consider that first lap pit stop. Maybe Russell as well. Nothing to lose there from 14th. There'll be quite a few. I think you're looking at the back end of the grid. We'll try it. It may well be we end up... I think I said this yesterday as well. It may well be that we end up in a situation where half the grid run long and the other half of the grid go very short. And that is what might just... It might be that it maybe all comes together towards the end. I don't know. It's completely different from Monaco. Completely... We've not tried this before. So... My only concern is it works and then they implement it at every track. Because that's what they tend to do, is it? Oh, that was a good idea. Let's put this everywhere. Yeah, let's hope they don't. Maybe something for just street tracks like Singapore, for example, would be a good place to do that one for sure. But yeah, not everywhere. We don't want this in, I don't know, Spa, for example. I hate Martin's grid walk. It's humiliating, says Annette. It is for him, isn't it? It's a very cringe. It's very cringe. It's gone from being a bit cringe to insanely cringe over the years. Another trophy there for Monaco. Beautiful Monaco trophy. The one they all want, really. If you can't win a world championship and you can only win one race in your career, it's Monaco, isn't it? So, double stop the Merc, Sean. What do you think? Double stack. The problem is it's a very tight pit lane, Jonathan. That's the trouble. And you don't want, even though they're going to be pitting twice and you're getting rid of a stop early on, you don't really want, say, Russell to come in and Antonelli to be held for 3 or 4 extra seconds because that could cost him later in the race. So you sort of don't want... From a strategy point of view, in terms of what happens on track, you probably do want your drivers together. But when it comes to pit stops around safety cars and whatnot, you don't really want them together, do you? You want a distance between them. So we'll see. If nothing else, split it. If I were Mercedes, I would at least split it. Yeah. Sidecover says Mohammed Ben Sulayem is cringe. MBS was clear after all of that with jewellery and underwear and upsetting drivers and that he was going to take a step back, wasn't he, from F1? And I think I've seen more of him now. Shall I make the comparison? Yeah, why not? It's a bit like Prince Harry, really, isn't it? Wanted to take a step back from public life because he wanted a private life, and I've seen more of him since he did that than before. So there you go. Not personally. Not like down the pub or anything. That would be weird. But yeah, he's sort of always there. He's on the podium. He's like, oh, look at me. It's mine. It's all mine. It's not, mate. Goodbye. Follow the Congo line, says Craig. That could be fun. We like that. We've got a Porsche Super... I was waiting for this. The Porsche Super Cup replay or Porsche Super Cup replay from this morning. They got a red flag as well. Car sideways, crashing into the barrier and then causing a pile-up the hill and block the track. And that's pretty much happened in F2 earlier. So it's absolute chaos. Absolute chaos out there. I wish Monaco was a bigger country. They had much of their land taken from France 200 years ago, says Nick. I haven't dug into that kind of history, but I'll take your word on that one. Not denying it or doubting it, just I haven't really read up on it. So looks like the grid is starting to clear now. We are about 12 minutes away, by the way, from the start of the race. I'm not answering that, Craig. Let's not get into that one. Just bring back refueling. That changed everything, says Dr. Onishi's psychosis lab. In theory, managed to stop should spice things up, says Alfie, as Siri thinks I'm talking to it. But in theory, that the time countdown qualifying should spice things up too. So yeah, that countdown qualifying was supposed to make it interesting. It didn't work. Sprints were supposed to spice things up. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So it could go either way. It could. I think Monaco's doing okay for itself, says John. Yeah, it seems to be all right. There's a lad on screen just now on the Sky coverage. Isaac Hadjar starts fifth today on the grid. What a performance. Not just this weekend so far, but it's got to be said. We said this last week. It's been said by others as well, I'm sure. After that formation lap crash in Australia, he could have gone either way, couldn't he? And he's really picked himself up after that, and he's been fantastic. And you know, Kimi Antonelli's done all right at Mercedes. Others have done okay, but I think Isaac Hadjar already staking a claim for Rookie of the Year. But let's not put too much pressure on Sean. Don't do it. Don't turn into one of them. Let's see how things go over the next few weeks and months. But he seems to be able to do it on pretty much any track, doesn't he? So looking good at the moment. Few ups and downs, of course, first season, but very happy to see him doing well as Charles Leclerc. Oh, Charles, I celebrated too early yesterday, didn't I? Very nearly. Let's get some questions in then. Then we'll do some predictions. Then we'll go over and we'll watch all the race and all that business. So, remember when Brundle did the grid walk and Franco snubbed him? Possibly. I can't remember. My memory is not what it was. Monaco Grand Prix is way fun if the track is the other way around. Tested it in a sim. That could be chaos, couldn't it? Could be good fun. Run the tracks backwards. I think, isn't the new F1 game going to have some tracks backwards for reasons? Because that's what we're all asking for, of course, from the F1 game, was to be able to run tracks backwards. Not classic cars or tracks or actual decent new features, you know. I think the optimal strategy the bottom 10 will want to try is pit lap 1, pit lap 77 if there's no safety car. Yeah, they'll want to pit late, won't they? Trouble is, you don't want to leave it too late, do you? Because if you're struggling on your tyres 70 odd laps in and you're just losing time, you're not really gaining anything by pitting on lap 77. But I suppose the idea is run long and hope for a late safety car. So maybe. From what we've seen so far this weekend, I don't want to jinx it and ruin the possibility, but we could see a red flag today. It's been one of those days, and red flags, they're quite quick these days. They're a lot more swift with red flags than I think they used to be. They went through a phase, didn't they? It was always that we got red flags a lot during good old days, and then they sort of, the FIA were like, look, we're not going to keep bailing drivers out for bad first corner decisions. So instead of red flags, we're going to go to safety cars. And then it took forever to really get many red flags, and then we just seem to get quite a few now. And Monaco is a place where they like to throw them quickly, which is understandable. But let's hope they make some better decisions on safety cars than they did this morning in the F2. Quite how that car in the wall on the exit of I guess the entry or exit of Casino Square, whichever way you look at it, how that wasn't immediately a safety car, I don't know. So let's hope we get some proper decisions today. But or some good decisions today by race control rather than just second guessing everything. Kay says, coming through to wish you a good race. I found Monaco boring, so whilst I'm sick as a dog, I'm going for a nap. Have a good one. Hey Kay, hope you're feeling better soon. Sorry to hear you're feeling a bit crap today. Hopefully you can get back and watch the highlights later, and it'll be worth watching the highlights. But yeah, go get some sleep, and hope you feel better soon. Thank you for popping in and saying hi. They've also been delaying calling the safety car until last minute now, so expect a very late call if we do get one. Yeah, I'm sort of torn on this one though, Fudd. I know John T is quite adamant that when it's a safety car, you should just call the safety car immediately. And I understand why, because you don't want a ton of incidents further around the lap. But I sometimes think, particularly on a longer track, like a Spa, for example, if you have an accident at the first corner, you don't need to bring the safety car out until a good halfway around the lap, really, because the cars aren't there, are they? But also there's a concern. I get what Jonty says, and others as well. You'll have said it too. I get that you don't really want a situation where you have a crash at turn 1, so you don't put the safety car out immediately, and then at turn 12 there's another crash, and then 3 corners later there's another one, and then you've got all that to clear up. So I sort of get it, but if a crash happens at turn 1 on a longer track, Monaco's not a great example of this, but if they don't throw the safety car or whatever until, you know, not Mirabeau. Why did I say Mirabeau? I didn't mean that. Nouvelle chicane. I don't think it's absolutely horrific, but I suppose around Monaco you've got to be more careful, haven't you? So difficult. Spa 98 needed more than a safety car, says Nick. Which one? There's a few safety car moments at Spa 98, weren't there? Yeah, Baxter's all right. He's downstairs. Other half was eating a cheese and ham toast before I came up, so sat staring at that, hoping for some. So I don't think he's picked a winner. He just wants that toasty, and that's all he wants. So there you go. Paula was live there in Spa. Very jealous in 1998. What a race to see. Did you see much with all the spray? I hope you were in the grandstand where that wheel shot off from Michael Schumacher. That would have been yeah. I did have fajitas last night. I don't know who put that in my mind. Boggy Pogby. I always get your name wrong. Bogby Pogby. Yeah, I don't know who suggested it, but I did in the end. Yeah. Kind of glad I did. Delicious. And some nachos as well, of course. How's the weather? Let's talk the race. Get your predictions in. What's your top 3 for this one? I'll go check the weather while we're doing that. Tell me your podium. I've got a feeling today Max Verstappen might be one to watch. I don't know why. I just woke up this morning. I was like, I think Max Verstappen might be a winner today. So just keep an eye on him. No rain expected, by the way. 0% chance according to the FIA and official forecasts as well. Temperatures, maximum temperature. I mean, that's not be right, is it? We want the air temperature. There we go, Sean. Looking at about 22, 23 degrees. Track temperature will be up in the 42s, 41s, maybe a little bit higher than that. So we'll wait for all that to kick in. I'm going to go and get the timing ready now while you get your predictions in. Then I'll read them out and do some shout outs. So make sure you get your top 3 in the chat if you'd like a shout out. Don't forget to subscribe as well if you're new. Lots to come this season, and drop a like as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. Let's get that out of the way nice and early, because I will forget to ask later. And although I know people don't like me asking, I get it. I feel a bit awkward asking, but it is unfortunately part of the job. If you don't subscribe and don't like the videos, then there'll be no point in doing these for much longer, will there? So should I try and... That's not going to work for me, is it? If it doesn't, I might try at some point and get the radio transcripts up, but they don't always work for me for some reason. So we'll see how we go. I'll also do 2 things today. I know, right? Firstly, I'll have the right timing screen open for most of the race rather than a qualifying one. That'll be helpful, won't it? Secondly, I'm also, right from the start, before Fabian turns up and tells me off, where are we? Make sure we've got this changed from best lap to last lap, of course, on the timing. So I'll just do that for you now while I remember. Last, I can spell. There we go. I think we're organised. I think we are ready to go. I think we're ready. Fudd says Norris, Verstappen and Hamilton for a top 3. Paula says epic race indeed, referring to the Belgium 98. I was at the Gold 2 grandstand, so I will never forget. Wow. What a place to be. Yeah, that was part of the Snack Strack comment. Yes, it was cited canvas. Top 3, hard to pick it with Mayhem, says Craig. I'd like to see Yuki stop first lap as well, says Kevin. Where is Yuki? 12th. Could do down in 12th place. Might be worth a gamble. RC says Norris, Leclerc and Verstappen. Nick says hope it rains so God can prove the FIA wrong. Flags in 2025, question mark. Why aren't they all electronic displays? I think flags now, they do supersede the electronic displays, but I think the flags are a backup, because obviously, as you'll know, Tim, I'm sure, technology doesn't always work, does it? It sometimes goes down, and sometimes environmental effects can affect that. Yuki Tsunoda flipping and crashing into one, for example, in Imola can also play its part. So they need the flags there as a backup. So I think we need to keep them. But yeah. Lewis really smoulders in that intro. Too hard to pick, says Craig. Also attended Spa 97, says Paula. 97. What happened in 97 in Spa? Leave it with me. Kay says, Albon for my top 3. I'm feeling confident. You never know. Flags are in your face. Lights are not. That is exactly how Craig wrote it. And let's have a run through the grid then super quickly from back to front. So Ollie Bearman, to confirm, is starting 20th after that 10th place grid penalty, with Lance Stroll in 19th. 18th for Franco Colapinto and 17th for Pierre Gasly. Little surprise to see Gasly down there, actually. Looked good earlier in the weekend. Not really coming together for Alpine here. Gabriel Bortoleto, 16th, with Kimi Antonelli in 15th after his crash at Nouvelle Chicane yesterday. 14th for George Russell after his car lost power on the run around most of the lap yesterday, pulling over in the tunnel to retire Nico Hulkenberg in 13th place. Yuki Tsunoda in 12th in the second Red Bull, with Carlos Sainz in 11th, whereas Williams' pace gone down in 10th place for Alex Albon as well. Liam Lawson, decent weekend for him too, in 9th place. It is 8th for Esteban Ocon and 7th for Lewis Hamilton after that 3-place grid drop for impeding Max Verstappen. Fernando Alonso, 6th place in the Aston Martin. Great qualifying from him and from Isaac Hadjar as well in 5th place. Big points on the table for those two today, hopefully. Max Verstappen up to 4th place after Lewis Hamilton's penalty. Isaac Hadjar, of course, and Alonso promoted too, with Oscar Piastri in 3rd in the second McLaren. Charles Leclerc, though, is on the front row of his home Grand Prix in 2nd place, but it is pole position for Lando Norris in the McLaren. Oh, yes. We are ready for this. Let's see how this goes. This is either going to be a great shout from the FIA or the worst decision they've ever made. I doubt it's the worst decision they've ever made. They've made some humdingers over the years. I will say as well, if it starts to get really hot in here, because just as an idea, if you're new, I've got quite a few monitors around, which I don't think they get hot, but they feel like they do. I suppose they do in a way, don't they? Yeah, I suppose they do. I've also got the lights. I've got a TV. I've got a PC at my legs chugging hot air out, and I've got no fan on. Can't open a window because the main road's there. So if it suddenly goes a bit darker in here and I turn the lights off, that's why. I'll tell you what I will do, actually. 1 second. I'll put the lights on behind as well. Why not? Because it's just not warm enough in here. There you go. So let's see how we go. So if the lights go off, that's why. So don't worry. I'm just a bit warm. So as I said yesterday, it's lights on and shirt off, or lights off and shirt on. I know which I prefer. So there we go. I would never do that to you, I promise. I'd never do that to myself. I shower fully clothed, for goodness sake. Anyway, tyre choices. Mediums for Norris, Leclerc and Piastri. Verstappen on the hards. He's running long. Hadjar medium. Used hards for Alonso. They've only done 1 lap, though. They've had a heat cycle put through them, so they are basically new. Hards for Hamilton as well. Medium for Ocon. It is softs for Lawson. A used set. 6 laps on those. Get those out of the way early. Of course, he's only got the mediums and hards and softs he can use this weekend. 1 set of the medium and hards, sorry. So he's got to use all 3 compounds. Albon medium, Sainz on hard, soft for Tsunoda, medium for Hulkenberg. Hard for both the Mercedes, mediums for Bortoleto and Gasly. Colapinto on the hards for Stroll, and Bearman mediums as well. That is, maybe I'm forgetting something from last season, but that is a hell of a mix of tyres for the start in Monaco. So already an indication here that perhaps this might all work better than Sean. I will, don't worry, Craig. May work out better than I've been fearing all week. So let's see. But a nice start there. Good mix of options. I mean, just because you put the hards on doesn't mean you can't pit at the end of the first lap. But it might be then that. I mean, Tsunoda on the softs can pit, can't he? Get those out of the way if he wants to right at the start. So there we go. It's not happening. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, from Suhan. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate the support. I'll put a like on that for you. There we go. Thank you very much. I'm sure I'll come to you in chat as we go along. Hansy's here. Those on the sauce will be fitting very early. Yeah, if you're maybe not Lawson, that's points. It seems like a gamble if you're 9th to do that, but in 12th place, I don't see why you wouldn't. I don't care. F1. I don't care about the F1 movie. Will you just do one with it? Carlos Sainz's reviewers put me off it completely. I was already off it anyway. I know I'm a miserable git. I can't help it. He said that if you know nothing about F1, it's great. So there you go. With that, I've paraphrased it slightly there, but that is basically what he said. 78 laps, by the way, so don't forget that. And the official risk of rain is 0%. Oh, yeah, Ollie Bearman is being investigated after the session, after the race, for unsafe condition. He went into the pit lane earlier, into the fast lane, with one of his side pod fans on. to keep the car cool, and then a mechanic ran into the fast lane to take it out of the side pod and went back. That is not allowed. So there will be some sort of penalty for that, most likely. Given that they haven't done anything now about it, most likely a team fine, but we shall see as the drivers come round now to line up on the grid. Oh, ready for this. The start in Monaco is generally the most exciting part, unless you are Victor Martins and Alex Dunn, of course. But it's usually the most exciting part. But obviously with all this mandatory two-stop stuff, it might get spicy a bit later on. Let's see what happens. First to pit predictions. Bearman, surely. What's Bearman got to lose in 20th? Unless we get a first lap red flag, what has Bearman got to lose? Sighted canvas is leaning forward. Yes. RC says F1 and the last game of the season. Yeah, thank God. RC. I don't want to watch that team ever again after this season, thanks. Or that squad. Here we go then. They're all lining up on the grid. Last ones now, just coming around the final corner. Bearman and Stroll. Medical car there too. Yeah, Bearman's got to go for it. He's got to. Oh, right, here we go. I'll count down the lights as always. I'll try my best to commentate, but I'm not here to commentate. We're here to talk about the race as we go. 1 light, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. We're going Monaco. It's a good start from Leclerc. It's a good start from Norris. So is Leclerc going to challenge him into turn 1? He is going to challenge him into turn 1. Round the outside as Norris has a big lock-up. That's going to hurt his tyres, but he's just about maintains the lead. Charles Leclerc having a look around the outside didn't work out, and that is pretty much... And Leclerc is really all over Lando Norris through Massenet there as they come through Casino Square. He's got Piastri just behind him too. We've got Tsunoda is down a place. Hulkenberg is up one, so Hulkenberg has gained. But other than that, everybody is as they were at the start on the grid. So one change of position, Hulkenberg for Tsunoda. That is why we have these mandatory two stops, I imagine, as that's a Bortoleto going clean around the outside of Kimi Antonelli at the hairpin. What a move from Gabriel Bortoleto. Oh, but Antonelli's coming back into Portier down the inside, and that's Bortoleto in the wall. That was always going to happen. That will be a safety car unless Bortoleto can reverse out. I wonder if Antonelli might take some pain for that one, but that was a stunning move around the outside of the hairpin for Bortoleto, and then right on the inside of Portier, Antonelli's come back at him, and then Bortoletto's ended up in the wall on the outside. That will be a safety car if Bortoleto can't. He is going again, so he should be okay. Depends on barrier damage, which there won't be too much, I wouldn't have thought, and any debris down there. But Leclerc just falling back off the back now of Norris. He was threatening early on, but this will settle down now. Who's going to... Well, Bortoleto will have to pit now. But yeah, other than that, Tsunoda pits. So Tsunoda does pit. Gasly pits as well. Who calls Tsunoda to pit? You are a legend. Bearman in as well. Virtual safety car deployed. This is perfect for the likes of Tsunoda, Gasly and Bearman. VSC is out because of the debris. They've all pitted. Tsunoda has put on a set of the hard tyres. He'll run long from here now, probably towards the end of the race. In comes Gasly as well. He has gone to the medium tyre, and Bearman, we'll see what he puts on in just a second. Bortoleto. Bearman's on the hards, but it's a very slow stop. His left front won't come off. He's getting a Bottas pit stop here. Bearman's left front isn't coming off, so they're having to now... Oh, it's the wrong tyres. They've got the wrong sets of tyres on. There we go, wrong side. Right and left were wrong, so a very long stop for Bearman. And it was Antonelli at the inside. I mean... Yeah, I don't think Antonelli's done anything wrong there. I mean, this is stunning from Bortoleto, by the way. Outside of the hairpin. Absolutely perfect. No contact with the barrier or the other car. And then Antonelli's going to come back up the inside in Portier. They've both left... Yeah, no, Bortoleto, not anywhere Bortoleto can go. I don't think he did push him out there. But what... Antonelli can't do anything there. He's up the inside. He can't turn into the barrier on the inside, and Bortoletto's got nowhere to go on the outside. That's just one of those Monaco moments thing. Bearman is on pit out, by the way. He's on the hard tyres. That was a very long stop for Bearman. But actually, the funny thing is for Bearman, he's lost nothing. He's actually gained a position because of the Bortoleto incident. So it's all worked out fine for Bearman despite a long stop. It looked like, I'm sure we'll get confirmation, but it looked like Bearman had come in and they put the left front on the right side and the right front on the left side, and they needed to swap them over. I don't know if there's a rule around that, because it just looked like they swapped tyres. That's what it looked like, unless they'd gone for another set. I don't know, but that's what it looked like to me. So we're just waiting for the green flag now. Virtual safety car. Is anyone going to try it? If you're Tsunoda, Or Gasly, while we've got the virtual safety car out, do you pit again and make your second stop and run to the end? Neither have pitted. They both kept going. That's a long way to take a set of mediums for Tsunoda, isn't it, if he was to do that? So, yeah, maybe not. But I just wondered then, but they didn't. I can't, Nick. I'm surprised nobody else has pulled in. I can understand, like, Norris. I can understand sort of Norris down to Alonso, but Hamilton... Is Hamilton back in the pack up there for Leclerc, do we think? There's a gap starting to open up between Alonso and Hamilton. I just wonder if that's what they're thinking. But then you're helping Norris as well, aren't you? So maybe not. If I'm Bortoleto, I'm pitting now if he's got another set of hards. But he's not going to pit now. He's going to keep going. I'm actually surprised. But I suppose it's Monaco and there's a good chance for a safety car later on. But I suppose it's not a full safety car, is it? So you still lose the time thinking about it. Never had time to think about it. If it was a full safety car, you surely make your second stop, but it's not, is it? So you're still going to lose that time. You can't catch the back of the pack as easy. Jeff Bezos there, we're watching him for reasons, because, you know, that's what we're all here for. Sure. Yeah, I'm just thinking to myself, virtual safety car, you'd still lose that time in the pit, wouldn't you? Even though it's less time, you still lose it, and you've still got to catch the back of the pack. So I guess full safety car, you pit twice. But virtual, there's no point. Plus, let's face it, there could be another one shortly. We've got quite a bunched up pack here. Poor Bortoleto and Bearman cut well adrift, but of course they have pitted, as has Tsunoda and Gasly. So, yeah. Very long virtual safety car. So this is what happened at the first corner. Leclerc got to the outside on the run to turn 1. In fact, a great second phase of the start for Leclerc. Threatens, then Norris double locks up. So he's knackered his fronts completely there, but actually lucky not to go straight on and into the runoff area there. We've seen that before, haven't we, with lockups into turn 1. So scruffy start for Norris, but he does have the lead, and that is all. Oh, it's a hell of a lockup. Two big flat spots there. That won't be fun, but it is Monaco. So Verstappen was challenging Piastri around the outside of turn 1 as well. And no contact there and nobody in the wall. So it can be done. There you go. Whoa. You don't want to be any closer than that, though, do you? That was pretty close to contact. Not far off at all. I just want to watch this Antonelli one again. What can he do to the inside? He sends it. No, I don't know. VSC is ending. Yeah, I don't think that's anything there from Antonelli for a penalty. I think that's all fair and square. Just a Monaco thing, isn't it? Track is clear. We're green. I could have put the yellow on, but I didn't. We're going again. Lap 4 of 78. Are we going to get any chaos? Bearman, purple first sector. He's in complete and total clear air. That's actually perfect for him, but he's got a lot of time to make up. He is 57 seconds off the lead. Not that minute matters, really. But 24 seconds off Pierre Gasly. So a lot of work for Bearman to do. To close that gap with his long pit stop there. So let's see how that all shakes out. But Norris already coming up to turn 2 and 3. Bortoleto only just coming out of turn 8. So can Leclerc... There's a big gap as well actually starting to open up. Leclerc to Piastri there. I wonder if Piastri not quite anticipating the start very quickly there. Is it me, or has Piastri held back from Leclerc trying to build a gap in case they need to pit both cars? Yeah, there was some talk about McLaren doing something with pit stop shenanigans, I guess, strategy-wise. But the trouble is, they're fighting for a championship. I know they put the team first, but Norris and Piastri working together, that's not going to go down well either side, is it? So Norris is getting away. Those tyres not causing too many problems at the minute. 1.4 seconds ago. It's hot as well, by the way. It's way too hot for Sean. 22 degrees air, 41.3 degrees track. You don't want to be stuck in the dirty air of the car ahead if you can help it. So maybe dropping back a little bit isn't going to hurt just to get some clear air, but difficult around Monaco. Hamilton has caught the back of Alonso again, by the way, so maybe not backing up. But Ferrari did suggest it has been suggested they use him to help Leclerc a little bit today, but not sure what he can do from back there. This will, unless we get crashes, this is likely to settle down now. The stewards turn 8 incident involving cars 12. That's Antonelli and Bortoleto car 5. Reviewed, no further investigation, so they're not going to take any action on that. I think that's the right decision there. It's a racing incident, but it's also a Monaco racing incident, isn't it? And if we start handing out penalties for drivers doing stuff like that, then we'll certainly never see any overtaking at Monaco. So there has to be a bit of leeway there, and I think Antonelli left more than enough space, and I think Bortoleto should have just conceded that position. Although, again, the overtake around the outside of the hairpin, whilst it's irrelevant now, was actually a really great move from Bortoleto. So credit where it's due. Just in that moment, a bit more experience, maybe they let that go. But he's not... With this mandatory two-stopper, wow. Sorry, I'll get to that in a second. With this mandatory two-stopper, nobody's out of this race just yet. However, Ollie Bearman, right, has just done the fastest lap of the race. Lando Norris, last time around, a 1:18 flat. Bearman, a 1:15.5. 2.5 seconds quicker than the race leader. That is what is happening again, which is what I said would happen. Look after the tyres, dictate the pace, take it easy, and then the drivers in clear air who've got nothing to lose like Bearman are going to go super quick. And Norris just bring it down to a 19.1, 19.2 for Leclerc. What's Bearman going to do when he comes across the line later? That's a big gap. Why is Bearman so fast? This 45 Westwood. The leaders will not be pushing. Last year, I think they're about 4 or 5 seconds off the pace, and they said throughout the race to manage tyres, and they don't want to stick it in the wall either. So there's always a bit of margin left as well. So drivers aren't pushing as hard as they would have done in qualifying, for example, or other races. Whereas Bearman down in, where is he? 19th place with like clear air can just push and push and push, and he is pushing. So it was a 19.1 for Norris. Bearman comes to the line and does a 1:14.8. That is how far off the pace the leaders are right now. Bearman is flying and bringing himself, actually, he's only 14 seconds now behind Gasly. In fact, that's a point. That's a very, actually 45 Westwood. You've got a good question, that. Why is Bearman so fast? He's what, 3.2 seconds quicker than Gasly ahead of him. He's cut 10 seconds out of him in 2 laps. He's absolutely flying, Bearman. I assume he's just cutting the Nouvelle chicane, not bothering with it. Doing an Alonso from Abu Dhabi a few years ago. Screw it. That's big. 3.2 seconds quicker than Gasly. That's incredible. They're going to have to start pushing the leaders. Bearman's 35 seconds off the lead. A couple more laps at that speed. And they're going to have to pick up the pace because he'll be in their pit window. That's ridiculous. Clean air does do wonders, Semi. You're absolutely right. I've got to cross my leg a minute. There we go. That's comfy. I need to get comfortable. This is going to get spicy. Very spicy. Gasly is behind Yuki, but Yuki also pitted, don't forget, as well. So he should be going quicker than that. He's only 19.1. Bearman a 15 flat on the last lap. We've got a slow for Bearman. That is, he was in the 14s last time around. So even though both of those are still pitted, and Tsunoda has clear air, don't forget. He doesn't anymore, sorry. He's behind the pack now, isn't he? Behind Stroll. He did have clear air, but his lap times weren't spectacular either. So the only problem for Bearman is, as he gets it down to 9 seconds to Gasly, is he's going to catch the pack now. And all of that work is going to be undone because they're not going quickly enough. So this is Lawson got a double yellow here. Who's that? Tsunoda's been off track, I think, at the Nouvelle chicane, 10-11. We had the yellows. Nobody's going slowly, though. Oh, it's Gasly. Gasly's got a problem. Gasly's slow. What's happened to Pierre? Oh, he's lost his wheel. That'll be what's happened to Pierre. Left front, he's hit the wall, I'm guessing, inside of the Nouvelle chicane. At turn 10 is my early prediction here. Because that's where the yellow flag is. So that's going to be VSC. Ollie Bearman moves ahead of Gasly. Of course, he passed him on track, but surely he's got no brakes, he says. So is that what's happened there? But he should have pulled over to retire, really, from there. So that's a bit naughty, dragging debris everywhere. But where'd you park it in Monaco? Not easy, is it? So Gasly pits. He won't be getting back out again. That's not just a change of tyres. But surely... now what do you do? What do you do if they do put out a virtual safety car again? We'll see what the debris is like down there. There is a lot of debris out there. That's going to be at least a VSC. That's the trouble. Look, he's clearly got damage to his car. Verstappen's all over the back of Oscar Piastri. And they're having a race here because the VSC isn't out, of course, at this stage. But that's why you're told to pull over, because he's just dragged debris all over the track now. Has Pierre Gasly. So Verstappen all over the back of Piastri, who is clearly backing him up here, I think. Potentially preempting a safety car, a virtual safety car, to give them the gap. But this is a big gap. I say slowing down. He's matching the leader's pace, so... Still, we'll wait for a replay, but still double yellows out there. We've got double yellows as well for the debris at 16 and 17. So what's happened? Has he hit the back of Tsunoda, maybe? Oh, do you remember Charles Leclerc a few years ago in the Alfa Romeo down there? It's similar to that, not quite as spectacular. He's gone in. Pit lane entry's been closed, by the way. He's gone in hot. Brakes haven't worked. And he's smashed into the back of Yuki Tsunoda. But the pit entry has been closed. So even if we get a safety car, they can't pit. So, yeah, very similar. Not the same, of course. The Leclerc one was far more spectacular, but very similar to the one Leclerc had a few years ago in the Alfa Romeo at that corner. Brakes failing, clearly. Locking up straight into the back of Tsunoda. Loses his wheel across the Nouvelle Chicane. Not a million miles away from wiping out Colapinto, actually. And then obviously they've closed the pit entry because of what happened there. So, yeah, how is Yuki still going? Damage might not be as critical here for him, but safety car's irrelevant now because the pit entry's closed because he's in the fast lane. And there's debris down there, so strange. Let's wait and see what happens. They put a front wing on Gasly's car, but I don't think they could do a lot else with it. They're not even changing tyres, are they? That's interesting then. So we are still racing here. It's not a virtual safety car. Look, right, so the two things I think are going... I think Lawson is quite obviously backing up Albon, Sainz, Hulkenberg and co. to help Hadjar up there in 5th place. That's sensible from Racing Bulls. Or he's just slow. Verstappen not happy with Piastri there over the radio either. Yeah, timesheet saying Gasly is out. Yes, you're right, Red Raven. He's retired. So, clearing so they have cleared the debris. So we haven't needed a safety car, which actually is a good thing for a lot of those who want to pit because the pit entry would have been closed. It's now open. So there we go. People can pit if they want to again now. Oh, that was a little bit chaotic, wasn't it, for Pierre Gasly? Again, it looked like brake failure, so we'll see if the stewards take any action. But, I mean, if his brakes have gone, there's not a lot he can do, is there, really? Verstappen's all over Piastri here. I don't know. What do we think, chat? I mean, Piastri was 17.3 to Norris's 19.7, so I don't think he's backed off to hold Verstappen up because he's quicker than the leaders. But I'm adamant Lawson's trying it here. Lawson is with a whistle on the S there just for you. 9 seconds off Esteban Ocon ahead, which is 9. Now Piastri just come across to defend, but that's okay. They were racing under the yellows, really, but yeah. See what the stewards think of that. But I was just trying to work out Lawson's gap to Hadjar specifically. So 9, 10, call it 10.5, 11. It is about 16 seconds up to Hadjar. So I think Lawson's back in his pack up. It's sensible from Racing Bulls, this, if that is the case. Fascinating. This is one of those intriguing ones. They are noting the Tsunoda Gasly incident at that corner. I mean, Gasly can't do a lot if he hasn't got any brakes, can he? But he has still hit Tsunoda, so I suppose there's that argument to be had there. Bearman's pace, by the way, has dropped right off to a 120. He's now 4 seconds slower than the leaders because he's stuck in that gap, which again I'm adamant is. Alonso saying, do you think the car in front, which is Hadjar, respected all the yellows? They're going to discuss it with race control. Hulkenberg pit. So this is a good one from Hulkenberg, this, by the way. Get rid of these tyres. He's in that traffic anyway. It'll give him clear air for a lap, maybe 2. And if he's quick enough, it's a good stop from Sauber. He might jump that little gaggle that Lawson's got behind him. So that's a really smart move, that, from Sauber. Be the first to pull the trigger there. So expect to see your Albons and your Sainz's maybe trying that. Your Mercedes as well. I'm surprised the Merc hasn't been in yet, by the way. I would have split that if I were Mercedes. They are going to investigate the Gasly Tsunoda one after the race, for sure. That's been decided. But yeah, it was dangerous, Kira. But if he's got no brakes, there's not a lot. Unless you're referring to the pit lane, maybe. I don't know. But if he's got no brakes going down to turn 10 coming at, Portier to turn 10, 8 to 10 is a long run for Monaco. And if he gets there and he hits the brakes and they're not working, and he goes in the back of Tsunoda, there's not a lot he can do there. If he goes to the left, he's still going to crash and probably take Tsunoda with him as well. Did Leclerc get a penalty for that a few years ago? Yeah, so I'm not sure it was dangerous. It was an accident. I can see them giving a penalty because it is still a collision, isn't it? Oh yeah, the driving without a wishbone. Yeah, that definitely needs to be a slap on the wrist at the least, doesn't it, Kieran? If that's what you're on with, mate, I agree on that one. Dragging that debris everywhere. Colapinto's pitted, by the way, for a fresh set of mediums. So yeah, no, I agree with you on that one, Kieran. Sorry. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Sorry, mate. There were probably potentially 3 there you could debate over, Gasly. The crash itself, the continuing on, and then the stopping in the fast lane in the pit lane, couldn't you, really? So, Colapinto rejoins. So he's behind Hulkenberg. So that's, I think, working out for Hulkenberg nicely so far. I think he was ahead anyway, but he's got a gap to him of 6.1 seconds, which he didn't have before. So, Hulkenberg, 18.2. Yeah. 19.2 for Albon. 19. He's a second quicker than Albon. Sainz, a little bit less than that. Russell, Antonelli. Quicker than Stroll, Tsunoda. Yeah, so it's a good call that from Sauber. Hadjar pits as well. Hadjar coming in. Now we're going to see if this is what... Is that... Lawson's only coming through the swimming pool now, so that might have been... They're putting the softs on Hadjar. Oh, he needs to run the softs, doesn't he? Of course, yeah, he's only got one hard and one medium. So he will come out ahead of Liam Lawson. That is really great play, that, from Racing Bulls. So now Hadjar just needs to push like crazy in all that clear air to Esteban Ocon, which at the moment is... where is he? He's 8. So he's got 14 seconds behind Ocon. All that clear air. He can push like crazy on the softs. Let Lawson keep backing this lot up and then pit again and get rid of them and run the hards to the end if he wants to. That's good play. Good play. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to keep pushing? We stay out. We let him go, is what Leclerc is being asked by Ferrari. Plan B, stay with Norris. I was expecting we are checking there. I don't know why. I just was. Hulkenberg's on a 16.1, which is on the pace of Charles Leclerc, by the way, at the front. And quicker than Verstappen, Alonso, Hamilton, Ocon. Yeah. Good pace. Or was, sorry, on the last lap. They're all across the line now with quicker lap times, but on the last lap, he was quicker than they were. What will Hulkenberg do on this one? So just remember 1:15.6 for Norris then, and we'll watch what Hulkenberg's doing. But he's cruising up to the back of the cars ahead. Trouble is, when he gets there, he's stuck in traffic, isn't he? That's the problem. So this only works if people start pitting. Yeah, I was listening to Crofty saying he's surprised that Russell and Antonelli haven't pitted. I certainly am. I think he's asking Ted and Martin, but he's not asking me, is he? But I'm certainly sure. I'm surprised they didn't split it. But I guess, are they going to be doing what others said earlier on in the stream? Run it as long as possible and then pit if we get a late safety car. What's Lawson's pace like? 20.1. Hadjar's a 19.7. So yeah, I think Hadjar is looking great here, by the way. 15.6 for Norris and a 16.5 for Hulkenberg. So a little bit slower than leaders. They're 14.9 now for Norris. He's stepping it up. 3 seconds clear of Leclerc. Into the pits comes Fernando Alonso. He's reacting to Hadjar, I assume, there, who was ahead of him, I know, but they've got the gap to Lawson, or should have. Ocon in too. So where is Isaac Hadjar? He's just coming round the final couple of corners now. That was a good stop, that, from Aston Martin, you know. And we know the softs aren't really switching on. This is a little closer than Hadjar wants it to be, but he is going to be ahead of him. There we go. Ocon will get out ahead of Lawson. So he's gone to get out in that gap, which is a smart thing to do as well from Haas. So anybody else pitting behind? No, not at the moment. So Hulkenberg is still quick. Has anyone pitted twice yet? No, nobody's pitted twice yet. There we go. How the front runners going to cope with these blue flags, says John. Yeah, that's the next problem, isn't it? All these pit stops from those at the back. Hamilton told to push now. This is our race. But yeah, this is that's a good point. They're going to catch all this lot, aren't they? With them pitting before them. So fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Great team play from Lawson. Blocked everyone, so Hadjar had clean air. Absolutely, Nick. I think that's a really smart play. I know Hadjar's had the edge over him, but I don't think Lawson is that much slower, so that was really good play. Having said that, I mean, Hadjar's just done a 15.9. Lawson, when does he get across the line? He's quite way back at the minute, isn't he? Last lap was a 1:20.6. So I wonder if they're going to use Lawson again to back up the pack and get Hadjar the gap he needs so he can make a second stop and run the Haas to the end. Intriguing. Alonso. Alonso being told to push now. He's now said he can't push now. I think he said there. So, yeah, not happy over the radio. Leclerc needs to give Norris some room already. This obviously isn't working for him. I think, yeah, Leclerc, he is quicker this first sector on this lap. But, yeah, 3.1 seconds. Needs to start looking after things a bit as into the pits comes Lance Stroll for his second stop of the race, Lance Stroll. So he's going to go mediums to the end then from here. So Stroll getting his stops out of the way. So he does not, and neither does Bearman. Bearman's in too. So Stroll and Bearman were both in that pack. They have both made their 2 stops. They do not need to pit again. Or no, Stroll is 1 stop. Sorry, no, I'm lying about Stroll. Sorry. The graphic definitely there said 2 stops, and then it's changed to 1. So sorry about that. It is Bearman who's made his 2 stops, not Stroll. Apologies. Yes, Hamilton in as well, by the way. This is going to get confusing. Yeah, the timing screen definitely said 2 stops there for me for Stroll, but it is only 1. Lewis Hamilton pits them. He'll put the hards on to run a bit further, and it'll be mediums to the end later on. Hadjar is just coming out the final corner now, so Hamilton will be just ahead of him. He didn't want to leave that any later, did he, Lewis Hamilton? But he has jumped him. Lewis Hamilton has overcut Isaac Hadjar for P5, so there we go. That's not worked for Hadjar just yet. They are getting rid of Lando Norris's tyres, by the way, in the garage, by the look of it. But yeah, so Hadjar has lost out to Hamilton there, 1.6 seconds. Lawson is definitely the cork in the bottle for this group behind. This is going to be so frustrating, particularly for the Mercedes pair there. But yeah, Lando Norris's tyres are ready here. They're in the pit lane just as Leclerc does a 1:14.8 and is 4/10 quicker than Norris. Into the pits will come Lando Norris. He caught traffic. That's a smart play there by McLaren potentially. Do Ferrari react? No, they do not react. Leclerc's going to carry on. Bearman and Stroll should be quite pacey here though. So Leclerc takes the lead. Norris is going to fall behind Piastri and Verstappen as well. Big gap back to Hamilton, so no concerns there for him. There is that lovely gap there, actually, for Leclerc, Piastri, Verstappen to feed into behind Hamilton, potentially. So we might see some stops now. What does Leclerc do from here? That's the question. I'd say what do you do if you're Ferrari, but Hadjar's pitting, by the way. He's in again. He's getting his stops out of the way. Because they've got the gap to Lawson, I think now they're playing this, I think. Oh, I hope this goes well for Hadjar. We know the softs haven't been switching on this weekend, so there we go. On go the hards. It's not a bad stop. 2.5 seconds. Lawson is just about to go around the final corner. They need him to definitely back them up, but I think he's going to be okay here, Hadjar. Hadjar can now go to the end for now. So Bearman and Hadjar can run to the end. I'll try to keep on top of all of this, but they definitely do not need Lawson ahead of Hadjar, and they won't. There we go. Good play this from Racing Bulls. Now Lawson can get on with his own race, I suppose. Piastri told to box to overtake Leclerc. So in comes Piastri for a nice fresh set of hard tyres. We'll need to start. Oh, it's slow. It's a really slow stop for Piastri. That's a 3.8 seconds is slow. 3.8 second stop. That might play into Verstappen's hands here. Gives Verstappen an opportunity and probably ruins Piastri's chance of jumping Leclerc. Leclerc, by the way, 14.8 to Norris's 18.0. So, yeah. Still quick Leclerc here. I know that's an outlap for Norris as well in there, so he's got to be quick. But if I'm Ferrari, which I'm not, thank God, I'm pulling Leclerc in, and I'm certainly pulling Verstappen if I'm Red Bull, because there's a slow stop there from Piastri. I'll come to you in chat shortly, by the way. I'm not ignoring you. There's just, for once in Monaco, there's enough to keep it interesting. It was left rear for Piastri. It's all numbers, it's all strategy, it's all tyres, but it's all part of F1. critical part of F1. So Norris a 20.2 in the first sector. Leclerc's quicker, 19.6 and 36.1. Norris 20.2 and 35.3. So he's coming back at him now, Norris. Actually, I think Leclerc needs to be thinking about stopping now. 16.6 off the lead, Norris, apparently. Do you run long if you're Ferrari? I'd certainly put Verstappen in there if I was Red Bull, but... Lawson pits now, forcing everyone else to pit, says Dr. Anishis. What's funny here is that Hadjar has rejoined ahead of Lawson, having made his stops. All of a sudden now, Liam Lawson, the cars behind, are green across the board. So they definitely have more pace, and it was strategy. That confirms that. Well done, Racing Bulls. That was really smart. Hadjar can just keep going now. Leclerc's now been pulled in, I think, a lap too late. 16 seconds off the lead. What's a pit stop in Monaco? I should know this. I'm hoping about 14 seconds, but I assume it's not. So Leclerc hits, so there's 4.1 seconds with the gap to Piastri after the pit stop, so it's not going to work for Leclerc or Piastri, this either way. So, Ferrari's still got time to mess this up, haven't they, in the pits? Let's see what happens. Up on the jacks, nice fresh set of hard tyres. Off he goes. Good stop from Ferrari. They've been quick this season on the tyre changes. Verstappen takes the lead. Norris is just going through the final corner now. He will get Leclerc. But it's all about Oscar Piastri, I think. Yeah, Piastri's nowhere near. That stop was really costly there. Still another chance, of course. They've got to make a second stop. The only drivers who do not need to stop again are Ollie Bearman and Isaac Hadjar. 13.8, by the way, on that last lap from Piastri. The team said needed a good outlap. There you go. Westwood says that Monaco turning into pit watch instead of track race watch. Yeah, I should change it to pit watch along, shouldn't I? The title, because that's kind of what we're doing here. But it's the only way you're going to get any excitement or action in Monaco is if we get lots of pit stops, because you can't, as we've seen with Bortoleto. Yes, you can make a great move, but also you can get it all wrong and end up in the wall. So it's not easy to pass on. The cars are too big. So it has to be pit watch, really. But yeah, let's see what you're saying in chat then while we're just watching this. Verstappen has a 10-second lead at the moment. Nick says, what is Red Bull's plan here? I'm guessing run long and hope for a safety car red flag, but they've not got Flavio Briatore at team boss at Red Bull, so they can't play any games like that with Tsunoda. What's gone right with Bearman is the question, says Alvasia. Well, he made a stop at the end of the first lap, which was the right way to go. Then had insane pace. At one point, he was 4 seconds quicker than the leaders, something like that. And then they decided to pit him again. And he's still quick now. He's stuck in traffic behind Stroll, but he's not having stop again. So he's right in with a shot here of a really good finish. Points might be a stretch, we'll see. But because Lawson's picked the pace up now. But yeah, he's doing a good job out there. When you consider as well that his first stop was a really long one because they were slow on the tyres. So slow pit stop was literally the difference. 1.5 seconds, says Joe. Yep, made all the difference. 3.8 second stop, wasn't it? So yeah, 1.5 seconds, you'd be about right there. It will be very close between Leclerc and Verstappen, says Hansy. Let's have a look. Leclerc 16.9 behind Verstappen. See what he does on this lap, Leclerc, before we commit to whether he's quicker or not. You've got to ease the tyres in a little bit, so we'll see. Yeah, Verstappen's still got 2. So Verstappen, Lawson, Albon, Sainz, Russell, Antonelli, all yet to stop. At all. Everybody else has stopped once. Bearman and Hadjar have stopped twice, so it feels like the strat teams don't know what to do. It looks like they are winging it a bit, says Sighted Canvas. I think there is an element of that. They were sort of dropping hints that they're having to play it as it lands. Something like that, I don't know. But that said, Verstappen just done a 19.6 in the first sector. So suddenly stepping up the pace just as he starts to catch the back of Ollie Bearman and Lance Stroll. So they're going to get blue flags in a second. So just pick up the pace now, Verstappen. And actually, as somebody said in chat a moment ago, Leclerc might be in trouble here because Verstappen on that last lap was 9/10 quicker than Leclerc. He's still got a 2-2 stops for Verstappen. Norris and Co only have to do 1, but this might get him ahead of Leclerc here. It will get him ahead of Piastri too. So this... Oh, did he get it wrong? No, he didn't. It was okay. I thought he hit the wall at the back. He hadn't. Yeah, Lawson to Kimi Antonelli haven't stopped. That's a good way to put it, yeah. And everyone above has pitted Hadjar twice. Officially, Gasly's pitted twice, but of course, one of those was to retire the car after he hit the wall, so... when did Monaco build a block of flats in the water sighted canvas? I touched on this yesterday. They've reclaimed land, haven't they, back there, I think, and I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. 14-4 for Norris, 14-6 for Leclerc, 14-9 for Piastri. They're coming back at Verstappen after that lap, so they are still in this. It's going to be close. They must just be goal hanging here for a safety car. Verstappen at the moment, if he pitted, would come out 0.3 of a second ahead of Oscar Piastri. So the undercut is on, or the overcut is on here. There are no mistakes in the pit lane, which is not something we can say about Red Bull this season. But he needs these cars to get out of the way. He's got some good pace for Verstappen, but they are coming back at him. Leclerc does a purple first sector. Russell still stuck behind. Carlos Sainz. It says Sainz is backing off, so he's picked up on Sainz doing that. I was just going to go through the times. So Sainz is going to start to play the game that Lawson played. And Russell's having a little look there, but not going to get through into turn one. Trying to scare him out of the way, I think. So Verstappen leads 8.4 seconds clear of Lando Norris, but Verstappen is yet to stop. Norris has pitted once. Leclerc is 7 seconds further back in third. He has pitted. Piastri is 3 seconds further back. He's pitted as well in fourth. Lewis Hamilton has pitted too. He's 5 seconds back, with Alonso 23 seconds back. He's pitted. Ocon's pitted as well. He's 1.2 behind Fernando Alonso. Hadjar in 8th, 9.9 off Ocon, and 58 seconds off the lead, has pitted twice. Doesn't have to stop again. Lawson has yet to stop. He is 1.1 off Hadjar. Albon has yet to stop, 1.6 off Lawson. Sainz is 5.3 behind Albon, also yet to stop, and just starting to back off now into George Russell in 12th and Antonelli in 13th. Both of those yet to stop as well. Tsunoda 8 tenths behind Antonelli in 14th. He's pitted once. Bortoleto and Hulkenberg have pitted once as well. They are in that little train of cars, 15th and 16th. Colapinto has pitted. He is right in that train of cars too. 17th place. Stroll is 3.3 further back. He's pitted once, and Ollie Bearman is right in the back of Lance Stroll, 1.3 seconds behind, and has pitted twice. Pierre Gasly, the only driver to retire as things stand, having hit the wall after his brakes, or not hit the wall, hit Tsunoda, sorry, and then hit the wall on the outside after his brakes gave up on the run to the Nouvelle Chicane. Bortoleto pits, Colapinto pits. Get these second stops out of the way while they're in that traffic. Makes sense. Stroll and Bearman both move up. So every position you see Bearman gain is a net position. That's a gain because he has made his stops. Bortoleto and Colapinto, in they come. Bortoleto still ahead of Franco. Oh, so Bortoleto will go to the end on those. Although they're soft tyres, maybe not, you know. So, of course, Bortoleto, Hulkenberg, the two Racing Bulls and the two Red Bulls only have one set of hards and one of mediums. So they have to use the softs today as well, which Hadjar already has. Is Bortoleto really going to get the soft to the end from there? That's 51 laps. That's a long way, isn't it? Verstappen's pace has fallen off massively, by the way. 16.3. Norris 14.6. Leclerc 14.8. Piastri 14.7. They must be hanging for a safety car here. Surely. Because why would you not? They could have brought him in a couple of laps ago, and he might have jumped Piastri. He's in. I mean, it might work out all right, but that seems a couple of laps too late there from Red Bull. Through goes Norris. Through will go Leclerc. And through will go Piastri. There's Piastri. And now Verstappen is in traffic as well for good measure. So I'm not quite sure what Red Bull are doing there. Because it's not... I know you could argue he'll have a better tyre delta now because he's got... You know, Norris, Leclerc and Piastri have done 9, 6 and 8 laps respectively on their hards, but it doesn't matter how good your tyre delta is. As we've seen from Bearman, you can only pass if people pit. So you can be as quick as you want, 4 seconds quicker than the leader, but you can't pass anybody ahead of you anyway. So Ollie Bearman here, what we're watching... Oh, did he have a go? Oh, that was very nearly. So Stroll was letting Verstappen through, lapping, and then Bearman tried to go on the outside of Raskas on Stroll and very close to the wall, but didn't get it done. But worth a go, I suppose. But that could have ended badly. Ocon has pitted as well for his second stop. He's put the hards on to go to the end. He'll rejoin in P10. Ocon looking good for points here. Some good points as well. So unless he sticks it in the wall, it should be good. Sainz has backed off massively, by the way. We suggested it, didn't we? The winner's poll is still going. Great shout. I'll end that. Before you all cheat and vote for the actual winner. There we go. I'll not even read those results. I think before we went to the race, I think Leclerc was winning that pretty solidly, actually. But yeah, there we go. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that, mate. Yeah, 12.5 seconds between the Williams. So Sainz will keep backing off. Norris on the radio. Where are the blue flags? Or why are there no blue flags? We'll keep asking. Because they're racing, but there still needs to be blue flags. Stroll needs to get out of the way here. And then there's a Sauber ahead of that, but they're racing, so Sainz is really just a 19.6 for Sainz to a 16.7 for Albon. That is quite a difference. So did Norris hit the wall there? Seems okay. I thought he just tagged the wall on the inside of the Nouvelle Chicane. We'll wait for a replay of that. It might have just been the curb and been very close to it. Bearman's over the curb a bit hard there. Taking over. He's okay, though. Keeps going. Have to let Leclerc go. This is the problem with this. This was always going to be the issue with this. It spices the race up the two stops, but ultimately, you can be as quick as you like in clear air. As soon as you catch the pack, you can't get through. So, and if you've got a Sainz driving 3-4 seconds a lap off the pace, you're just losing any time you gain from pitting. It was over the curve for Bearman there. He's okay, though. Just dropping, back end dropping on entry there. Could have been nasty. Interesting. Lots of blue flags now. The Mercedes about to be lapped by the McLarens here. Sainz is so slow. So slow. 19.1. 16.9 for Albon. 17.2 for the leader. 15.1 for Leclerc. Yeah. So he's lapped Antonelli. Russell right behind Sainz. See, I don't understand Mercedes' strategy here at all. I really can't. At least split it. Pull Antonelli in. For example. Pull him in and just get a stop out of the way. Get him in clear air. I don't understand, as Sainz gets out of Norris's way there, I don't understand why they've not made their stops yet. And all they're doing is sitting behind Carlos Sainz driving slowly. If they want to jump Sainz, surely get into some clear air and push like crazy. Leclerc says this is a joke when it comes to traffic. Yeah, I was just thinking Verstappen needs to do a second stop here. The problem is he's got Hamilton in close-ish order, but he has got the gap to Alonso, so put Verstappen back in. Oh, no, Verstappen's got to run the softs, hasn't he? Unless he... No, yeah. He can't. He needs to keep going. But yeah, I know. I'm just thinking getting some clear air and try and undercut, but he's in clear air, I suppose, 3.3, but weird. I can't work out Mercedes. Let me know in chat what you think Mercedes are up to here, other than, I mean, it's all right, goal hanging for a safety car, but you've got to make two stops, so you might as well get one out of the way with one of your drivers, surely. Hadjar, Rocco, Bearman, Bortoleto, and Colapinto, by the way, the only drivers who don't have to stop again. Lawson finally stops. He's done his duty for Racing Bulls today. What an effort for Liam Lawson, by the way. Great team play from him and Racing Bulls there to get Hadjar into what is looking like at least P7. So great stuff there by them. Gazzy in the garage there, not very happy. And Lawson is going to come out in traffic, but of course he has made one of his stops, so... Lawson's ahead of Sainz. Sorry, no. My shifts feel like Monaco Grand Prix 1972, says Verstappen. Lawson just out ahead of Sainz by 0.7 of a second. So that's critical for his race. That brings Lawson into play for points then. Merc are done for one way or another. With a lap down, they are not coming back, says Red Raven. Absolutely. When Sainz pits, things will improve, says AM9776. Yeah, but Sainz won't pit until Albon pits, and they don't need to pit Albon at the minute. His pace is still good, 16.8. I say that, they're pitting him now. I'll shut my face. There you go. But yeah, they've backed him up here to get the space for Albon, which makes sense. In he comes. Ham has a massive gap behind and the M25 ahead of him. Yeah. Hamilton, for example, he's not going to lose anything to Alonso, is he? Get out of this traffic. Stop messing about with it. Get in. Same with Verstappen. I still think Verstappen could do it. Verstappen and Hamilton. But Verstappen has got to run softs next unless I'm misunderstanding the rule, which is possible. Yeah, Merc could do the same thing. Halvasian, they could do the same thing. Back up. Everyone behind with Antonelli, but I still think they could have got a stop out of the way then and got in some clear air. So look, this is one of those things where we'll sit here and go, why are they doing that? That makes no sense. And then they might end up 8th or something, and it might actually have turned out to be a really great call. But there's a lot of traffic out there. A lot of cars having to try and get creative with any chance of an overtake, as we saw with Bortoleto and Antonelli. So there's still a chance of a safety car or something, but no chance of rain, no. None at all, 0% officially. But yeah, it's not... it's kept it interesting, that's for sure, but it's not changing anything happening on the track, if that makes sense, in terms of overtaking. We are seeing cars backing people up. Sainz, I'll look at the driver track, not the TV. Sainz was going slow, but was letting through traffic. There we letting through leaders, sorry. So there we go, getting out of the way. Sainz will let Verstappen go. Nicely done. Hamilton's still tucked up behind Bearman here, so he's still in this pack of cars. So 121.1 from Russell. 119.3 from Antonelli. Obviously, Russell getting laps. 114.6 for the leaders. Everyone up to Lawson has been lapped. So it's a bit classic Monaco still. In a lot of ways, when it looks to things like that. But don't forget, Lawson and Sainz have been driving mind-numbingly slowly for much of this race so far to help their teammates out ahead, which has worked perfectly so far for Racing Bulls. Isaac Kadjar has made both his stops and sits 7th place. So good play there from Racing Bulls for the 4th or 5th time in this stream. I'm impressed by that. It's common sense, but it's worked really well. We don't always see common sense in F1, do we? So Leclerc's on it, by the way, 19.3 in the first sector, and slower in the middle sector, though, where Norris has been strong all weekend. So Hamilton stopped once. Only drivers to stop twice. Hadjar, Ocon, Bearman, Bortoleto, and Colapinto. Kevin, just to let you know. I'm going to take a quick 15 seconds for a drink, and I'll be back with you in just a sec. Here we go then. The next phase. 43 to go. All about strategy today. Not a lot to do with anything else, frankly. Yeah, Norris has been really good in the middle sector. Full stop this weekend, Joe. Just really, really good. Yeah, Hamilton's only... I've definitely got once for Hamilton, Kevin. One stop, he's run 2 sets of hards in total. Yeah, 18 laps on each so far. So, yeah, I don't know why that's saying 2. It's definitely one. If he's pitted twice, he's sitting very pretty there in 5th place and on for a potential podium if he picks up his pace. But as he got through the traffic, he's still in that traffic. It's such a big group of cars. It's taking forever to get through it. I still think that'd have been worth just... rolling the dice there and pitting him, because Alonso is so far behind now, 25.7 seconds. He could have pitted and had lots of clear air. And no, actually, no. No, it's a lap ahead. Yeah, lots of clear air. Ignore that. He would have had lots of clear air while the others are having to deal with traffic as well. But yeah, I mean, Norris is about to catch Ocon in 8th place, by the way. In comes Bortoleto again to get rid of these soft tyres. Of course, yes, he will have made an extra stop because he had to get rid of his damaged front wing, didn't he? Or replace his front wing. So that's a 3 stop for Bortoleto. Yeah. So now he's going to run the mediums to the end there, Bortoleto. That makes sense. He's running 3 compounds that he needs to. So there you go. Or the 3 sets he needs to. I forgot about that bit. I wonder why I pitted otherwise. Oh, sorry, just go quiet for a second while I just sort of recap on what's going on, try and work out where everyone's sat at the moment on track and whatnot. Hamilton about to clear Sainz, by the way, in that gaggle of car, so he will have a nice run up to the back of Alex Albon, who is a lap down. But yeah, lots of lapping going on here. I think everybody's going to get done up to Alonso, lapping-wise, which, again, partly due to the backing up, but also just the way this race is shaking out. So, although Norris does then lose a lot of time for a pit stop again, doesn't he? So maybe not, but... Yes. Fastest sectors so far. I've not got the actual fastest sectors at the moment, but Lawson's just done a 19.8 personal best in the first sector. He has got pace in that car. And that's Fernando Alonso, the unluckiest man in the world, has got smoke pouring from the back of his Aston Martin. The unluckiest man in the world is out of the Monaco Grand Prix. He's pulled nicely out of the way, so it will only be yellows, no safety car needed. It says retire the car, smoke on the radio. That guy cannot catch a break. He was on for pretty much a guaranteed few points here today. But it's gone bang. Maybe temperatures, power unit temperatures. We talked about that a bit ago, didn't we? But yeah, out goes Fernando Alonso. No, there won't be a VSC. There'll be no need for a VSC. He pulled into the escape road at Rascasse, so he was well out of the way. Really well driven, actually. They are getting ready at Ferrari. There's definitely not going to be a safety car because Alonso's well out of the way as he plummets down the order, Fernando. See you later, mate. That's such a shame. Such a shame for Fernando. Oh, dear. Definitely won't be a VSC. Not the way he's parked that car. There's no need for one. Any kind of safety car at that point was clearly for entertainment purposes and not actual safety concerns because there was no need. He was off the track completely behind the barrier. So, yes, the power unit stopped uniting, Craig. Uniting, I like that. It's just stopped doing. It's stopped being. It's done. I say power unit. It could be something else, but that's what you tend to assume when it's smoking, don't you? So there you go. Kevin's going to give them a call about the VSC. I'd love to know what that conversation is going to be. Let me know. Could be the water vapour powering the cars, of course. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so coming through the swimming pool section now, Carlos Sainz and his band of merry men, his train of merry men that he's dragged around with him. He's replaced Liam Lawson as the cork in the bottle. I cannot imagine how angry and frustrated George Russell is sat there behind Carlos Sainz. He's an experienced driver, Russell, so I don't expect a dive bomb. But if there's a rookie there, maybe they might. But yeah. No Anano, no Garnacho, no Shaw in the squad all played their last game. Jolly good RC. If they could field just the kids from the academy, that'd be fine by me as well. I'm still angry. I'll get over it. There'll be players that I forgive, ultimately, because you just do. But, yeah, there you go. How long do we think softs can conceivably last? 20 laps is too generous. Well, Lawson's got to stop again, so 10 more laps maximum based on that idea there, AM 9776 of 20 laps. So he's got a way to go yet. They went quite far in quali, didn't they, in Q1 when they were pushing yesterday, but very different in race trim with full fuel and that. So I'm with you. Anything more than 20 is really pushing it, I think. But the great thing for Lawson is he's 8th at the moment. He's got a 18, 19, 20 second gap to Sainz behind. So he can go a couple more laps on these to come in and put the hards on later and have and get out ahead of Sainz. He will fall behind Albon, but he'll have made his second stop and Albon won't have done. So Lawson here has an opportunity to bank P8 if he wants to right now. So I say a couple more laps on those softs and then maybe call it from there. That's an award you should consider introducing the F1 word. Cork of the day, says Red Raven. Yes, I absolutely should. Cork of the day. I'm still going to give it to Liam Lawson because I think he played a blinder there for Hadjar. So there you go. George already has a PowerPoint presentation ready on how to avoid the situation in future, says Sighted Canvas. Facts. Absolutely. Albon box. There you go. So he's going to do what I just said Lawson should have done, really. So if you're Lawson, do you respond to that box? Lawson 15.8, Albon 15.3. Albon is quicker, so do you want to give him that? That's a good point. Do you want to give him that clear air? That's a good point. Lawson does pit, and Albon pits as well. So they're both pitting, so they've got the gap to Sainz. So whoever wins this in the pit stop battle, which should be Racing Bulls, between Williams and Racing Bulls, will decide probably who finishes in 8th place. A good stop for Lawson. Off he goes. Hard tyres to the end, and he wins that one. A fresh set for Albon, but unless Albon overtakes him on track, which is unlikely here, that is P8 for Lawson. Good play. So somehow, I guess thanks to Carlos Sainz, but somehow Liam Lawson played cork in the bottle for much of that race, helped Hadjar make his 2 stops, makes his 2 stops, and still ends up 8th place himself. Thank you, Carlos Sainz. Kevin says this fool would win Plonker of the day. I assume you're talking about me, Kevin, so thank you very much, mate. Appreciate that and the support. Don't know whether to laugh or cry for Mercedes, says Nick. Yeah, I don't understand why they've not tried to make a stop of some sort. To be honest, it makes no sense to me. But then I'm not a strategist, so there we go. There you go. I don't get it, yeah. 40 laps on those hard tyres. They're stuck behind Sainz. I just don't know why. I guess you're going to get caught behind Colapinto, Bearman and co now, aren't you, who have pitted twice? I suppose that's why, but they've just left it too long. We've not had a yellow flag, by the way, on track since Alonso pulled over, so it's all gone nice and quiet. So is the rest of the train going to dive into the pits now? Where is the rest of the train? Again, the trouble is they're going to fall. Now they're going to fall behind Bearman, Colapinto, and Bortoleto, who have all made their second and third stops. Obviously, Bortoleto with the extra one due to the front wing damage on the first lap. So pitting now, they just fall in behind those, and that locks them into those positions, doesn't it? So I guess Mercedes, in particular, thanks to Sainz's games, have no choice. Carlos Sainz is just on a 16.8, by the way. But yeah, because of these games, they've got no choice but to run as long as they can. So yeah, track limits for Antonelli at turn 10 on lap 41. That was a few laps ago now. Confirmed. Yeah, they've got no choice, but I think they've got no choice now but to goal hang for a safety car. Don't forget Disney Times F1 coming in 2026 because we were all desperate for that. Or Mickey and Friends, I think, officially, rather than Disney, but I suppose it's a Disney thing, but whatever. That's Albon slow. Oh my word, brilliant. Alex Albon has just backed off, let Carlos Sainz through, and is now going to back up George Russell. Well, so now we're watching Oscar Piastri get very close to the wall. In fact, so close he touches it at turn 1. Wow. We'll get rid of you if you're going to be an absolute bellend. There we go, sorted. Sorry, chat. Yeah. So they are going to return the favour then, aren't they? So just back the pack up and try and get Sainz's 2 pit stops. This is the sort of thing I do on the F1 game, to be fair. Not through strategy, I'm just very bad at it, so I'm just very slow, just generally speaking. Why didn't Merck think of that? Yeah, exactly, Nick. It's too late now for Merck. Like I say, they're going to fall. Just check the times actually here. So 1.6, 3.2, 4, 5.5. Yeah, you're looking about 7 seconds back to Bortoleto. So Russell and Antonelli pit. They fall behind Bearman, Colapinto, and Bortoleto, but then they've still got to pit again, so this just doesn't help them, does it? They may as well now just run as long as they can and hope for a red flag in a late safety car. Do you know, actually, Mark, that's funny. It says, did anyone else have chess on their Monaco bingo card? I was just thinking, actually, about how sort of strategic and like chess this feels. So, yeah. Intrigue. Yeah, it is very chess-like, isn't it? I'm just listening to James Vowles, sorry, on the thing. Crofty asking if they'll take this forward into next year for Monaco. What do you think, chat? I mean, it's certainly given us something to keep an eye on rather than just all drivers driving slowly and managing tyres and not being able to pass. At least we've got, multiple strategies or multiple ways of handling the two-stopper. We've seen some clever strategy play from Racing Bulls and Williams, but is that something that we carry over into next year, bearing in mind that although the cars will be different, we'll likely see the same thing next year anyway. So, actually, will that soon get really boring at Monaco? It's nice to have something Monaco specific, though, to be fair. Strategy intrigue is often a code word for the racing was boring, but chess enthusiasts liked it. Yeah. Strategy intrigue is what I always describe. You know, when I've had a dull race, it's like, yeah, strategy intrigue. But I do love strategy. As you know, I love tyres. Hence all the wonderful tyre talk segues in the previews. I can't cope without them. I love tyres. They're very exciting. Hulkenberg pits, by the way, for his second stop. He's going to drop right back to the back of the pack. But he's done his stops now, so it's just not really worked for Bearman, has it, today? He's done what I said would likely happen, which is all the pace in the world in clear air, but as soon as he catches the back of the pack, he can't make any progress. But he is still up 5 places, so there you go. The problem for Verstappen, AM just says that Verstappen is catching on better tyres. The problem for Verstappen is he's got to run the softs next. And they've not been working for many people this weekend at all. So 90 seconds, by the way, is the average time lost in the pit so far today. So we'll know for that one. But yeah. He's quick, but he's got to run the softs. They're going to be easy to get to the end from there. And they're not fun tyres anyway. So yeah, but he's right behind Piastri still. They have lapped up to and including Isaac Hadjar, by the way, all the leaders. So it is now 2 groups. 77 lap race then for everybody else, and 78 for the lead 5. I was trying to work out what... So Norris has got to clear this pack of cars. But every time he pits, he's going to have to do that again, isn't he? So, yeah, we're at this really awkward phase now. I'm not really sure what teams are going to do. We've got 31 laps to go. If you're McLaren and you pull in Norris, and then in 10 laps' time, Leclerc stays out, runs long, and 10 laps you get a safety car, that's shafted him. But you don't want to leave it too long, because now he's got to faff about with this pack of cars, which should get out of the way, but around Monaco, that's easier said than done. Let's see what happens. Bortoleto does hop out of the way of Lando Norris. Well done there. Agreed, everyone sees in real chaos, says Zane. Hamilton may as well pit again, says AM. He's got a gap. He's got a minute, hasn't he? Back to Hadjar, so can do. Pit twice. Pit 3 times, actually, if he wants to. Fairly confident the top 10 stays like that to the end, says Nick the Greek. Russell saying Albon's driving dangerously slowly. He is 3 seconds a lap off the pace of his teammate ahead. So top 10 stays the same. Let's have a look, Nick. Norris. I think that Verstappen here on Piastri is the one to watch, isn't it? I don't think Leclerc, unless Norris has a shocker through this traffic or has an accident or a really bad pit stop. Piastri being told to box, by the way. I don't think Piastri and Verstappen are going to threaten Norris and Leclerc, and I don't think Leclerc will threaten Norris. So really, it's whether or not Verstappen could do anything about Piastri. Otherwise, I think you're probably right. Hadjar's pitted twice. Ocon's pitted twice. Lawson's pitted twice. Sainz is going to get both his stops done easily and rejoin in the top 10. I assume Williams will just swap Sainz and Albon back around if they need to later on. Yeah. Max being told to push as Piastri pits. So, yeah, I think you're probably right. There might be maybe, Piastri, Verstappen maybe, and then Sainz and Albon might swap around, but I think that will be your top 10 finishers. Yeah. Nick says no undercut chat. He could overcut. Overcut it tends to be, or has in recent years, been the favoured strategy by strategists. So they might. Verstappen on the radio. Just saying they've got a safety car window over McLaren have Red Bull. So Leclerc pits. Leclerc does pit. They're going to try it. They're going to avoid the traffic. That's, dare I say, a smart call from Ferrari. Or it wasn't until it was slow on the right front, 2.2 seconds. He's going to come out behind Verstappen, but he'll be ahead of Piastri, obviously, and he'll be ahead of the traffic of Hadjar and Ocon. So he's not got to deal with Bortoleto, Colapinto, Bearman and co like Norris has. So that might be a good call, but Norris is already clear of that traffic now. So let's see. Hard tyres, by the way. Was it hards or mediums? I'm waiting for the timing to update. It's a set of tyres. 100% pace, please, is what Norris has been told. Yeah, covering Piastri is a good shout as well there, Nick. Russell has passed Albon. But he cut the chicane. But here's a question for you. Here's one for you. Sainz pits. Russell apparently cut... We'll need to see a replay of that. But if Russell has cut the chicane, I mean, does he just keep going? Take the penalty? He's got nothing to lose back there, has he? And then Albon's driving so slowly. I'll wait for a replay and see what that one is. If he did cut the chicane, but... Is that the rule? Is it? Russell didn't yield by to back. That was the penalty. They had to yield by to back. There we go. Yeah, they've noted it now, so that'll be a penalty. But he may as well keep going. I don't like the cheating or whatever, but he may as well keep going because with the pace that Albon's going to have to do to give Sainz his second stop, Russell will get that 10 seconds, but he's still got to pit twice. So, yeah, let's see what they decide. But, yeah. I'm intrigued by that one. It depends what it is. If it's a 5-second time penalty, then he may as well keep going. But, yeah. Of course he's going to take the 5-second penalty. Albon just said that over the radio. Shouldn't be allowed, says Albon, intentional corner cutting. But, I mean, as Martin Brundle said, he may as well have done that 30 laps ago if he was going to do it. So, it's a fair point. It is cheating, isn't it? But you're going to get a penalty for it. And if you can get that 5 seconds up in a lap or two, then it might work out for him. Yeah, Russell's had enough. He just said, screw it, didn't he, Jamie? I'm not doing this anymore. You got to try something, but, I mean... It's not going to look good, is it? But, yeah, I saw somebody say that Max can win this with a safety car. He can. He's leading at the moment. 5 points. Here's the replay. Let's have a look. Oh, he does just cut the corner. There you go. And then... That was Antonelli, sorry, cutting the corner. I want to see the Russell one. Russell said I was avoiding a collision because he slammed on the brakes. Sure, all right, George, mate. All right, George. I've not got my Mercedes shirt on today, so I can't defend you on that one. That was, yeah, that was not avoiding a collision. Even if it was, you still have to give the place back. So let the stewards decide on that one. Verstappen in traffic here. That gaggle behind Alex Albon. He's driving. I mean, he is very slow, Albon. By the way, we're not talking a little slow. He is very slow. Sainz still needs to make a second stop, so I'll see me back up again in a minute. But yeah, no George shirts today. Yeah, I'm in the Haas one today, and it's working. Ocon's P7, so there you go. I've bought Haas some luck for this one. Do you think this is the last time they used the two-stop rule? Says Killjoy. I think I heard, and I only could half listen on the stream, obviously, because otherwise it's silent for 20 minutes. But I think James Vowles was saying he'd like to see it tweaked because it's a little bit stressful for them. It's a drive-through penalty for George Russell for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. Wow. That's a humdinger of a penalty. That is 2 down from disqualification. It's a disqualification, 10-second stop go, drive through, and then your time penalties. Worth a go, but that's worse. That's even worse for Russell. And you can't obviously take a drive through. Oh, and that's Antonelli nearly into the back of Albon at the chicane. Now, what does Antonelli do if he's not giving it back to back? So that's going to be a drive through for him, surely. So Russell has to pit 3 times effectively. Once through the pit lane. Twice, he's going to let him go now, but it's too late. It wasn't by to back. And then 2 for his normal pit stops. And correct me if I'm wrong, chat. It used to be, I don't know if it's the case now, whether it's changed. It's been a while since it's seen a proper drive-through again. As Antonelli lets Verstappen go. But I think you have to serve your penalty before you stop. You can't come into the pits unless you're serving your penalty. So the next time in the pit lane for Russell has to be the drive-through within 3 laps of getting the penalty. Albon does. I tell you what, to be fair to Antonelli and a little bit less to Russell, but still to Russell, Albon is ludicrously slow. Ludicrously, great word. Ludicrously slow through there. He is slamming on the brakes as Verstappen cuts the corner as well, but trying to avoid all sorts going around him. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, he really is hitting the brakes there. To be fair. Huh. Russell and Antonelli, the only ones yet to stop, by the way. Verstappen, Hamilton, Sainz, Tsunoda, and Stroll need to make other stops as well. As Stroll gets overtaken by a proper overtake, actually, by Leclerc there. It was being lapped, but Leclerc just got on with it down the inside in the Nouvelle chicane. So, yeah. Leclerc's only 2.6 behind Norris, by the way, just to let you know. I know there's traffic, but... Oh dear, Russell's not be happy with that. Just be told on the radio. To be honest, I prefer not to speak, is what George Russell says as he speaks. Just go no comment over the radio. But yeah, to be fair, Albon is slow and he's hitting the brakes down there. So, but they're the rules, aren't they? Can Leclerc still win this as AM? I think it's going to be tough. Norris in traffic, of course. As I know Leclerc is too, but that's going to be accounting for some of the time there. But there is a gap between Albon and Antonelli now, so that's opened up. Yeah, so 3 stops needed for George. I guess the stewards might let Antonelli go on that one, given that he did eventually give the position back, but the rule did say to back, didn't it? So George should come into the pits and jump into his supercar. Yeah, just go home. What's the point? Max is screwed if he gets that behind Hamilton. 21.6 is the gap, 19 seconds on average for a pit stop. Box for penalty, Russell told. Then he's got 2 stops to make still. So, do you know, though? Do you know? He's 16.2 seconds clear of Albon already. So there's been a couple of laps since it happened, or a few more maybe 3 or 4. But yeah, that's ridiculous. In comes Sainz, by the way, for his second pit stop, so he will rejoin ahead of certainly Antonelli. Will he be ahead of Albon? Russell will have to let Leclerc go on pit. Yeah, Sainz rejoins ahead of Albon, so I'm guessing Albon's picked up the pace now, so Williams can eventually swap the drivers over. But just bear in mind here that George Russell is between them, so whether he might try something here, I don't know. What happened to Gasly, says Rem? Goodness me, that was a long time ago, wasn't it? Gasly brakes. He had brake problems at the Nouvelle chicane at turn 10. Went in, brakes didn't really do anything, and he kind of hit the back of Tsunoda just enough and ended up in the wall and broke his wheel. But yeah, brake problems there. Might get into trouble for the collision, but more likely to get into trouble for taking his car around while damaged on track. So yeah, that's what happened to Gasly. And Alonso retired with a mechanical problem as well, just to let you know. Aiden says, bad weekend for Mercedes. Hopefully next week will be better. Yeah, shocker for Mercedes, actually, isn't it, at the moment? Just have a quick check of something for you, actually. See if we've got any Gasly quotes in the group chat. Let's have a look. Yeah, red flag now. Martin Brundle say it gives Max Verstappen a free pit change and free tyre change and the lead. Nothing from Gazzy that I can see in the group chat. So, although it looks like they're not overly thrilled with what's going on out there, the group. Yeah, it is a bit ridiculous, isn't it? So Red Bull are really hanging here for a safety car red flag, aren't they? But 1.7 seconds clear of Verstappen. And in comes Hamilton. So that's... Oh, that's his second stop, sorry. Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, I was wondering what they're doing now. Yeah, second stop for Hamilton. Get it out of the way. So Verstappen's got that buffer now. Worst case at the moment for Verstappen is P4. Best case is P1. But he needs a red flag. Safety car wouldn't cut it, so... No, the tyre change. This is what I was saying in the preview, Red Raven. They've not changed the red flag tyre rule. So, if we had got 2 red flags, say we had a turn 1 incident like F2 and we got a red flag, everyone could change tyres. If we then got another red flag later in the race, that would give everyone another chance to change tyres again, and therefore the mandatory 2-stopper is irrelevant. So that rule needed to be changed as well. It needed to be mandatory 2-stop using all 3 compounds, and your red flag stops don't count as pit stops. That's what I would have. Said. That's how I would have tweaked it. But yeah, I can imagine. I can see 2 sides to this so far. By the way, there'll be people who think this is great fun. It's added something to the event. At least it's kept us interesting. It's certainly kept us engaged, hasn't it? Throughout this, we've been watching lots going on and not really had time to talk about football, fajitas and anything else beginning with F. Really, Fallout. There you go. But which is what we usually do when it's the Monaco one. It's a bit like a testing stream when it's the Monaco race, isn't it? When we do these, or it can be. So just a lot of waffle, but so it's kept it engaging. But at the same time, we've also seen some really clever but also silly stuff as well. So, you know, Lawson playing a great game of backing people up but doing it relatively safely, whereas then Albon and Sainz swapping places, so Albon can basically just hit the brake on the apex of corners and cars, you know, Antonelli going in the back of him. And we've seen some silly stuff as well, so maybe there needs to be a further tweak to it. But I think the FOM will be quite happy with all the engagement they'll be getting over this one afterwards, so it'll probably stay for next year, because obviously the world, and I realise as a YouTuber I'm being slightly hypocritical with this statement, but the world is all about engagement now, not about anything actually good necessarily. I'm fending off clickbait as long as I can. I try my best, but, you know, it'll happen one day. It'll have to do. It's inevitable, I'm afraid. That's the way the world's going. But maybe I'll be really old and dead by the time that happens. And it's gone morbid. 20 laps to go and it's gone morbid. There you go. I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry. Verstappen still has to pit, says Craig. Yes, he still needs to pit once. In fact, the drivers who still need to stop... Verstappen needs to pit once. Russell still needs to pit twice. He has done his drive-through, but he still needs to pit twice. Antonelli still needs to pit twice. Mercedes have really blundered this, haven't they? Tsunoda needs to pit once, and Stroll needs to pit once as well. So Verstappen is goal hanging here for a safety car. What this has done, with Verstappen being sort of out front on the older tyres and a bit slower than those behind, it's put Leclerc 6/10 behind Lando Norris, which should get you excited at a normal race, but around Monaco, it won't really do anything. So you don't need to use all compounds, do you? No, you don't, Mark. It's 3 sets of tyres, 2 different compounds. So, but Verstappen, the Racing Bulls, the Saubers and Tsunoda, so the Red Bulls, the Racing Bulls and the Saubers, had to use all 3 compounds because they only had 1 set of hards and 1 set of mediums, so they'd have to use 3 different compounds, and they didn't have 2 sets of hards or 2 sets of mediums, so it was 1 of the hard, 1 of the medium, 1 of the soft. If that makes sense, Mark. Sorry, it gets a bit confusing when you dig further into the regulations, but yeah, it is 3 compounds, 3 different sets, 2 different compounds. There you go. And there's people that are new to F1 going, same thing, innit? No, it's not. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Joe says, what have I missed? Verstappen's leading. Hang on. Yeah, Verstappen hasn't made his second stop yet. He is currently, I wouldn't say backing up Norris and Leclerc, but he certainly isn't. He's not quick, or not as quick, and they are close. I just. No, it's too early. I was just thinking, it's too early in the season to think of that. Might see Leclerc as less of a threat for a championship here than Norris. Might back him up, but way too early in the season for that, really, isn't it? So, cork update. Antonelli is now the cork in charge, says Red Raven. Antonelli. No, do you know what, actually? That's a good spot. That's a good spot, actually, yeah. if you're Mercedes, you back up Tsunoda and co, don't you now, and give Russell a shot at P11, because if someone retires in the top 10, that'll obviously give Russell a shot at a point. So actually, slowing the pack up there, he's done an 18.5, Russell's done a 16 flat, backing them up, playing the Williams game and the Racing Bulls game to get Russell what will be net P11 if the gaps are big enough after his 2 stops. And then if something happens ahead, they might nick a point. So that's not, good point there. Are the laps? Yeah. I mean, the pace that others are doing, Alvasia, as you'll know, I mean, Albon was so slow. Antonelli can back off loads more yet. So there's definitely time there for Antonelli to back up. I mean, let me have a look, actually. Hang on a second. So, Sainz only did 5 laps on the medium tyres before pitting again to put these current mediums on. So he did 2 stops in, 5-6 laps. So it's very easy to do, and we've still got 18 to go. So Mercedes could do it, but Russell will still need somebody to retire ahead. So, which could still be a Ferrari, let's be honest. I have no faith. No faith at all. Should pit Ocon now, says Killjoy. They don't need to pit Ocon. He's made his 2 stops. Everyone in that gaggle there has made 2 stops. It's really Verstappen and the Mercedes we're watching now, plus Tsunoda and Stroll. So, outside of the backing people up and the actual 2 stops themselves, it's not chased anything on track in terms of overtaking, has it? We've only seen... Yeah, they will sort the cars back at Williams, sorry, but we've only seen... I mean, if you want to count Albon letting Sainz go and then Sainz letting Albon go, that's another 2 overtakes, but we've only really seen 2 legitimate overtakes, and that was... And one of those wasn't even legitimate as such. But Bortoleto ran the outside of Antonelli on the first lap, and then Antonelli up the inside into Portier to take that back. But then Bortoleto ends up in the wall. So we've only seen that all day. So it's not changed anything there. We didn't think it would, by the way, just to be clear. We didn't think that was going to happen. So the strategy's been all we've got, or all we've had. But as we saw earlier in the race, had this been a normal one-stop race, it would have just been cars driving much slower off the pace, managing tyres, and we'd be sat here talking about atom fall or something, I don't know. Bottom line, Max didn't have the pace today, no strategy could help him, says Nick. Well, you say that, if there's a red flag now, that's the strategy, and it works out perfectly, doesn't it? Yeah, so... Okay. Oh, Martin Brundle's throwing a theory out there here. If Max Verstappen pits now, he will end up 4th place. If he doesn't stop, he will get a 30-second penalty and he would still finish 4th. So is it worth just leaving Verstappen out now and taking a penalty at the end? I thought that would be a disqualification, but it's not. It's I didn't check the rules around penalties for that before the stream. I should have done, really. It's a 30-second penalty if he doesn't take the tyres. So he could just stay out there. He's going to end up 4th whichever way. So no, I honestly thought it was Kieran. That's what Martin Brundle said. So I'd take his word over at most on stuff like that. But then he has got it wrong before, as we know. So I mean, I guess the point is you can avoid the penalty by running Verstappen to lap 76, 77, can't you? And then pitting and putting the tyres on and running them to the end. But for the last couple of laps, and then you avoid the penalty and you still end up 4th anyway. So they may as well leave it as long as they can. But I'd be surprised if they don't make the stop. Because you could be... Exactly, Hansi. That would be disqualification against Spirit of Sport, or it should be. The FIA might say, well, we thought 30 seconds, but actually we can go harder if we want. I know... Let's not get into the FIA and their rules. Some of them don't feel like they're worth the paper they're written on, but they change every weekend, I feel like it. So, yeah. But, yeah, I'd still leave him as long as possible. I don't know. Yeah, because safety car even now doesn't save him, does it? Because he's not going to get out ahead of Piastri there. So you're still looking at a 10-second stop. So Russell is going to box now. He has got a gap back to Antonelli to do so. So they have played this here, have Mercedes. By the way, everyone up to and including Sainz, has been lapped twice in this race. That is how slow that mid-pack has been going. And there'll be many people who say this isn't exciting because it's just cars driving slowly, and I can see that argument. And there'll be others that think this is brilliant. So it'll be interesting to see what the FIA and FOM decide to do for next season at Monaco. But please don't make this a thing for every race. Please. Fun for Monaco. Oh, slow stop-ish for Russell. 3.7 seconds stop, so actually very slow stop in the end. He should rejoin ahead of Antonelli, so I assume Antonelli will now just back up the pack again to get Russell that second stop. Don't forget the timing screens will say 2 stops for Russell, but one of those was a drive-through. And then back up the pack. But then Antonelli's got to make his 2 stops, but then I suppose add a minute to his time. It doesn't do anything to his race, does it really? He drops down, but yeah. Norris is slow, says Leclerc. Pass him then, mate. Hang on. Marty Brothers clarifying something there. Right, okay, so yeah, no, that we thought that was odd, didn't we? So just to confirm, Marty Brothers corrected himself now with the rule book. I said he sometimes gets it wrong, didn't I? If there is a red flag now and the race doesn't restart, Verstappen will get 30 seconds added to his race time because it's not his fault he couldn't take his second stop because the race hasn't continued. But if he just decides to stay out to the end, he will be disqualified from the race for not... That makes more sense. There we go. So we were getting confused there, weren't we? So yeah, just to confirm, if Verstappen was to go to the flag now from here without pitting, he'd be disqualified. If a red flag is flown and the race can't be restarted, he'll get a 30-second penalty. That's when Martin Brundle's got us all confused there. I thought that didn't make sense. I was trying to work that out in my mind. The Williams are about to swap positions, by the way, Sainz and Albon, but that worked brilliantly. 9th and 10th for them today. 3 more points for Williams, 2 more for Albon, 1 for Sainz, unless something happens. But that explains that then. So, thank God. I thought I was going to be... I just had this vision of there being chaos after the race and conspiracies and all sorts flying around. But there we go. Thank you, Martin Brundle, for both confusing me and ending that confusion. So who is left to make their stops then? So, as the Williams swap positions, Verstappen still needs to make his second stop. Russell still needs to make his second pit stop. He has been through once already for a drive-through. Antonelli still needs to make 2 pit stops. Tsunoda and Stroll need to make 1 more each as well. So there we go. Victor says, this is the worst race I can remember watching. Did you watch... I'm not... your opinion, Victor, I'm not criticising you at all, mate. But did you watch last year's Monaco Grand Prix? That was way worse than this. At least we've had that strategy intrigue. It's not been thrilling in terms of the action. It has all been driving slowly and pit stops, which isn't always an exciting one for people. So I agree it's not been the best, but it's better than last year's Monaco Grand Prix. But then at the same time, that's not a particularly high bar to clear, is it? Let's be honest. Yeah. Oh, just brushing that barrier, Piastri, at all. Victor turned it off last year. I don't blame you at all, mate. It was terrible. Even I struggle with that, and I'll always try and find something to watch in F1. There'll always be something that'll keep me interested in F1, and last year it didn't happen. Leclerc is all over the back of Norris here. 0.4 of a second between them. The DRS, by the way, down the straight is worth about 0.2. So you need to come off that final corner about 0.2 off the car ahead to have any chance into turn 1. It just doesn't happen. So Leclerc is going to have to try and force his way through, or hope for a Norris mistake or a problem with his car. Hulkenberg is still on no softs. He is indeed. Stroll pits, by the way, for his second stop, drops him to last place. Not a lot he can do from there. Hulkenberg's on 20 laps on the soft, still 11 to go. Good spot, actually, that one. Lizzie had a great nap last year. So did most of the pit crews, I think. There was it 5 or 6 cars pitted more than actually made pit stops in the race last year for one reason or another. But because we had the early red flag, everyone changed tyres on lap 1 under the red flag and then didn't pit. It was just, there was nothing. So at least we've got that today. That's something. So Joe said this is like a 3 or 4 out of 10, whereas last year was a 1 out of 10. I think 1 out of 10 is very generous for last year. But there you go. I guess you can't really give a 0 because there's always something, isn't there? Red Raven says, like the stream. Yes, please do drop a like on the stream. 700 of you here. Thank you so much for spending your Sunday afternoon, evening, or morning with me. Really appreciate the company. We've got 100 likes, so please do drop a like. That'd be greatly appreciated. And subscribe as well if you are new. Lots to come this season. Thank you to Nerd, to Derek, to Suhan for his super chat again, to James, to Tiberius, to Lewister, to Pamela, to Benjamin, to Nobody, and to Mark for subscribing. Really appreciate the support there, guys. Thank you very much. It's free to do, liking and subscribing. It helps the channel in that old pesky YouTube algorithm battle that it has to constantly suffer through. Yeah, there you go. That was it. I thought I was going with that, but that's where I ended up. So there we go. Yeah, Hamilton's still only just making his way through the pack here, isn't he? He's losing time. He's in the 16s. I mean, Verstappen did a 16 too, but Hamilton's on fresher tyres. Leclerc is, I mean, look, slightest mistake from Norris here, and Leclerc can get through. So he just needs to keep the pressure on, does Leclerc? Kira says, what is the countdown? Do you mean the clock on the timing tower? That's how long is left timing wise the race. So race has to be completed within 2 hours inside a 3 hour window. So once the race starts, we've got 2 hours to finish it. We're easily going to do that. We've got another half hour to go and 9 laps to go. So that's just the race time that's left. So he's made one stop. As they're just confirming that on the screen now for Verstappen. We knew that anyway. Albon, by the way, is flying away from Sainz at the moment. Whereas Oscar, I needed to put pressure on Charles, says Norris. Oscar Piastri, I'll tell you, Lando, is 2.1 seconds back. Russell's just done a 13.4. Russell has now got the gap he needs back to Antonelli. Antonelli's going to have to make 2 very quick pit stops here, isn't he? For his race. But yeah, Russell is going to end up P11 here. So if something happens ahead, he might grab a point. That was about all Mercedes could do in the end, I suppose, with their faffing around with strategy. Saying Max is backing him up, not even pushing. Yeah, Max can control the pace. Nothing wrong with that. He's not... Yeah. If I get on an airplane and I see Alonso on it, I will jump off and run, says Hansi. Yeah, yeah, a plane, a boat, a car, just stay away from Alonso. He's so unlucky at the moment. Really unlucky. He looked good, didn't he, today for sort of 6th, 7th, 8th place, somewhere in there. A really nice pile of points, and then his car let him down again. So Leclerc can still win this if he can overtake Lando Norris, but the top-down view really does. I love that drone shot, by the way, but the top-down view anywhere around Monaco, helicopter or otherwise, it's not really helicopter, it's the towers, isn't it? But really to show you how impossible it is to get past here. Russell's pitted, by the way. He's got the gap to Antonelli. He will rejoin in P11, I believe, unless he's had a slow stop. He hasn't. So there we go. So it's the hard tyres to the end for Russell from here. Rejoins just ahead of Antonelli. All sorted. So now Antonelli needs to make his 2 stops. Will Mercedes, for the sake of 11th and 12th, swap positions now and do the same as Williams did? I'd be surprised. Let's stay close to the fight in front. There could be opportunities, is what Piastri told of a team radio. I don't really see I mean, yeah, maybe. Kay says, did I miss anything good? How are you feeling a bit better, Kay, by the way? A bit of a nap might have helped, I'm sure. But it's all been about pit stops, really. Antonelli yet to make any stops. Russell tried to get clever by cutting a chicane to pass somebody, then got a drive-through penalty and still ends up ahead somehow in 11th place of that gaggle of cars, apart from the Williams pair. Yeah, it's just pit stops, and more pit stops. Lots of slow driving. Liam Lawson was so slow earlier to help Hadjar get his stops done. That worked out perfectly for them. Albon and Sainz both backed the pack up for each other to get their stops in, so they've ended up 9th and 10th. But yeah, bit of controversy around it all. Some don't seem very happy with what's going on. Others think it's brilliant. So just typical F1, I guess. You're never going to please everyone. Antonelli pits, by the way, which is going to drop him all the way down the pack to, I assume, last place. It will be as well. And then, of course, he'll have to make another stop next lap. So, or in a couple of laps. It's really difficult watching Monaco because I'm looking at this for Leclerc here, and there is the win right there ahead of him. And it's so frustrating to watch because unless Norris stuffs it in the wall or makes a mistake or has a problem, he's not getting through. So yeah, Max still needs to pit. So no, he's not going to. He's not going to win this one. At best, he's going to finish. In fact, he will be fourth place. Whatever happens, he will be fourth now. He's 51 seconds clear of Lewis Hamilton. So yeah. Maybe Leclerc needs to try Bortoleto around the outside of the hairpin. That'll be tough, but yeah, why not? Up to and including Albon are 2 laps down, by the way, as well. Norris, Leclerc and Co. They might catch Antonelli. They're not for a third lap. They're not going to catch the likes of Sainz and Albon. They are coming round turn 8. Sorry, not Sainz and Albon. Ocon and they might catch Ocon and Lawson. Actually, they're a bit further, not as far along as I thought they were on the track. So yeah. Piastri's nice and close to the back of Leclerc here. We'll get DRS, but Leclerc twitch on his at swimming pool there. But I don't. Yeah, I couldn't see them come out of that corner because there's a load of trees there. How dare they? But yeah, there you go. DRS wide open, closing, and nothing happens. So basically, what we're waiting for now is for Tsunoda and Antonelli and Verstappen to make their final stops, and basically, unless something happens, your finishing order for the top 10 will be Norris, Leclerc, Piastri, Verstappen, Hamilton, Hadjar, Ocon, Lawson, Albon, and Sainz. That'll be your point scorers. Leclerc is doing many mistakes at the moment, he says, on the radio. So, bit of pressure maybe. Any crashes, says Huff Tried. Yeah, we had a big-ish crash for Pierre Gasly's brakes failed at the Nouvelle Chicane. He went into the back of Tsunoda and lost his left front corner of the car. So they dragged his car around to the pits, throwing debris everywhere, which was greatly appreciated. So yeah, that's the only. I've had a few little brushes with the barrier, but that's the only big crash. And Alonso retired with a mechanical problem. So yeah, I agree, Joe. Racing Bulls deserve a lot of plaudits for them being the big winners today. Yeah, massive, great play from Liam Lawson. Not only that, but to have it work out with both your drivers, that you can get both your stops in a pickup stick. I mean, look, Lawson's right in the back of Ocon as well. So if he can make a move, which is unlikely. Hadjar's third place, by the way, in driver of the day. I think that should be higher than third place. So if you haven't voted for your driver of the day, I don't want to influence your decision, but I think Isaac Hadjar should be getting a bit higher than third place there. Leclerc's currently winning it, so don't let him win it. I say that Lawson, you could argue Lawson as well. Albon and Sainz too for what they've done to back people up. But yeah, I think Hadjar's been really, really good today. And all weekend, actually. Forget just today. Here is my suggestion. Brace yourself, everyone. This is from Red Raven. Here is my suggestion. Rent part of France, extend the circuit through there, declare it part of Monaco for 1 week a year. Done. Logic and especially reason aren't part of F1 anyway. There you go. It's a good idea. Oh, Leclerc so close to the back of Lando Norris through the Nouvelle Chicane. Yeah, it just seems much happier on the brakes. And on the throttle does Charles Leclerc. Norris just not happy at all by the clunk of the curb as well. Verstappen 2.2 at the race. So Norris saying that Verstappen's backing him up, but he's not right on his gearbox, is he? So we've only got 3 to go. Verstappen needs to pit in the next couple of laps, really. I don't see a way through for Leclerc unless there is a big mistake. But rookie drivers, Hadjar, Lawson, Bearman, Colapinto, Bortoleto, Antonelli is the order. I don't know why we have that order on screen. You can look at your timing tower and work out who the rookies are and who's where. I mean, talk about dumbing the sport down even further. Goodness me. Sorry, I get really arsy with stuff like that. I don't mind. Some graphics are great and they really add something, but telling you where the rookies are when you could just look at the tower and see where they are is just, yeah, whatever. Hamilton on the radio. Are they still ahead by a minute? He's asking, and the answer is going to be We are checking notes. Yes, they are. Yeah, Hamilton not really happy with the response there for the team, saying you're not really answering my question, but I suppose it doesn't matter. Just wanted to know if he's a minute behind, and he isn't. And Tsunoda pits as well for his second time, so Verstappen will be in next time around. So they're going to pit Tsunoda now. They have pitted Tsunoda, sorry. And then it'll be Verstappen's turn next time, I assume. When it's the lead, you've got to leave it as late as you can. You've got to. And I think it has to be the end of this. I don't think you can go on to the final lap without stopping. I don't think. I might be wrong, but I think. Colapinto P13, great result, says Nick the Greek. Yeah, it's... Again, another one of those who made a couple of early stops, didn't he? Or an early stop, and then, of course, couldn't... once he caught the pack, couldn't really do anything about it once he got there. So, yeah, that's the other thing as well about this. It's not really played out how I think people wanted it to. Again, Bearman pitted really early, was 4 seconds a lap quicker than anybody else, cruised up to the back of the pack, but couldn't pass anybody. So all of that time that he gained, all of that pace he had, he couldn't do anything with it. So it sort of just didn't change anything that way. If we'd not had the cork in the bottle game, I don't think it would have changed as much as I think F1 wanted it to. People have just pitted it. Yeah, Leclerc's got to do it now if he's going to do it. Verstappen is pitting this lap. He's been told box. In he comes. So left as late as they possibly could by the rules, Red Bull. In he comes, and that's that one. He will rejoin fourth. He's only losing. He's not losing anything. He would have been fourth anyway. Would like to point out, by the way, actually, that despite all the intrigue around strategy, the top 4 is still the top 4 on the grid. But yeah, Lando Norris got us in the bag now. He's got a second, so there we go. Antonelli's made both of his stops as well, by the way. We are done. Everyone's made their stops. Lando Norris has got the gap now to Leclerc. Maybe just looking after things for the final couple of laps, maybe now. But this is the final lap. Next year they'll probably make it so there are pit lap requirements, like you have to make your seconds pit stop by lap X or something. Says Cool Hand Luke TV. They tried they did the mandated stint lengths, didn't they, for Qatar a couple of years ago? I did that work very well, but that was for safety concerns. But yeah, they might try something different. They might tweak it for next year, but it kept things interesting. But I don't think it's going to be the big win that it's going to be sold as, to be honest. But brace yourself for all the headlines. I'm sure they'll tell us it was a overwhelming success. But Lando Norris rounds the final corner to cross the line and win the Monaco Grand Prix of 2025. Charles Leclerc 3 seconds back in the end, takes P2. Oscar Piastri P3. Max Verstappen 16.6 seconds further back will finish in fourth. Antonelli's gone fourth on the timing tower. Ignore that. That's a mistake. Something's going on with transponders and whatnot, so just ignore that. That's not what's happening. Max Verstappen will be P4. There he goes in P4. So the top 4 were as they were on the grid. Lewis Hamilton moved up a couple of places. He'll take P5 when he gets there over the line. Hadjar will be 6. Ocon 7. Lawson 8. 9th for Albon. 10th for Sainz. 11th for Russell. And then God knows what else behind while it all shakes out. So yeah, ignore that. It's there, but there you go. Yeah. We'll talk about it all in a bit. We'll react to it all in a bit, but Lando Norris is the winner. Fastest lap, by the way, on the last lap. So he still had pace in that car. Toying with us a bit there, I think. But yeah, big win for him. Needed for the championship. We'll do some race scorings as well in a bit. We'll see what we're coming up with 4 out of 10 so far in chat. So we'll see how we go. It depends what you like about F1. If you absolutely love pit stops, then it's a 10 out of 10. We had lots of them, but yeah. No problem, Minsk. Really appreciate you popping along, mate. Thank you for joining me. Do drop a like before you go if you haven't already. I know some will disappear now the race is over. If you are disappearing, thank you so much for watching. Again, please do drop a like before you go and subscribe as well if you're new. Lots to come this season. Really appreciate the support. Great to spend Sunday with you. If you're sticking around for a bit longer to hear me with some reaction and wrapping up the race, then you're welcome to stay, and we'll have a bit more of a waffle as well in a bit. We'll probably go for another half hour. And see where we're at by then. But yeah, appreciate your support today, everyone. It's been a lot of fun, intriguing, and I didn't name a pillow, so that's a positive, right? That is a positive, okay? So thank you very much again. Drive-through penalty was served by George Russell, by the way. I thought he got another one then. Wouldn't have mattered, he was 11th in the end, so... Leclerc saying not much more I could have done today, or we could have done today, so there we go. Yeah, there will be an investigation here, by the way. For the investigation, sorry. It was noted. Hulkenberg and Stroll forcing another driver off the track. So that would have been Hulkenberg forcing Stroll off track there. So didn't see that, but no penalty to be served there. That's been cleared. So, yeah. And if you're watching your football in 15 minutes' time, I wouldn't bother watching... Well, if you're a Villa fan, you'll want to watch it, won't you? But I won't bother watching Man United today. Isaac Kadjar did take 6th place, just to confirm. Ocon 7th. We'll go through all this in a bit as well. The timing tower went a bit bonkers at the end there for some reason. So I guess cars being lapped, it's always going to do that. And now the track map is frozen as well. So there we go. I feel that last lap was Lando saying, "Oh, so you think I'm slow, or you say I'm slow?" Says Stickle Brick. Yeah. Stroll attempted to overtake. What a legend, says J Webb. We want to see it. Race winner Lando. I don't know who got driver of the day in the end. You'll have to let me know if I miss it on screen, but we'll do our driver of the day shortly, and then we'll run through the order in just a sec. In fact, what I'll do is I'll go and just get a quick drink. So 15, 20 seconds, then we'll come back, pause for the timestamp, we'll go through the results, then we'll do some reaction to it, we'll watch the podium and that, and we'll take some questions, and we'll do all of that as usual. So give me a few seconds for a quick drink, I'll be back with you. Remember the time, Sean. Remember the time, it's easier. Lando Norris has won the 2025 Monaco Grand Prix ahead of Charles Leclerc, 3.1 seconds of gap in the end. Norris actually had Leclerc right on his gearbox in the closing laps, but pulled out a 1:13.2 on the final lap and the fastest lap of the race. He definitely still had pace in hand, but good drive from him today. Pole to win. Doesn't tell the full story, but never really threatened for the win, if we're being honest here. Charles Leclerc is second place, like I say. Said over the radio, not much more we could have done, so it's good points for Ferrari. And when you consider where they've been in recent weeks, that's probably a very good result for them, really, isn't it? Oscar Piastri in third, I'm sure will be disappointed, but again, Monaco, even with 2 stops, very difficult to do anything about those ahead. So third place, probably the best he could have got today, all truth told. Max Verstappen was 4th, was leading until the penultimate lap, and then had to make his second stop. Worth a go from Red Bull. Didn't work out, but best case was the win. With a safety car, red flag would be needed, and 4th place was the worst, so you may as well try it. Ended up in 4th, 20 seconds behind the leader, 16 off Piastri, but still 30 seconds up the road from Lewis Hamilton in 5th, who gained 2 places. So good stuff from Ferrari today to get him ahead of the likes of Hadjar and Ocon and co. So good stuff there for P5. So they've got to be happy with that to a point, I imagine. But Lewis Hamilton didn't move to Ferrari for 5th place, did he? So he won't be thrilled, but better than it could have been. Isaac Hadjar, fantastic all weekend, actually. Some great team play from Racing Bulls. Was a lap down on the leader, but still finished in 6th place, and some big points for him. Well done. Best of the rookies. I'd say pretty comfortably. Yes, Lawson wasn't a million miles away, but I still think that was great stuff. Esteban Ocon in 7th. Good stuff from Haas. The T-shirt worked for Haas. There you go. I got you some points. I'm taking full credit for that. Less than a second behind Hadjar, so it was close in there. And Liam Lawson in 8th place did a great job early doors to back up the pack to allow Hadjar to make the 2 stops he needed to today. So great team play by Racing Bulls. People won't like it, but it is about strategy. It's a team game. They played it perfectly, as did Williams. I would say Williams a bit more on the edge with that one in terms of some of the driving that we saw, with particularly Albon backing up and Kimi out saying that he crashed into the back of him, but it worked at the end of the day. Albon was 9th and Carlos Sainz in 10th, so it's big points again for Williams. 3 points in total, 2 more for Albon, of course, on his already obscene total, quite frankly, for this stage of the season in that car. George Russell, bit of controversy. Decided to cut the chicane, said he nearly went to the back of Albon. Not sure he did. Cut the chicane to gain the place. Didn't give it back by to back. In fact, didn't give back at all. Then got a drive-through penalty. Then Antonelli backed up the pack, which allowed Russell to do his drive-through, make 2 pit stops, and still rejoin in 11th place. So there you go. No points, but best he could have done. Ollie Bearman, 12th. Felt a little bit for Bearman, actually, today. He pitted really early, put laps in that were 3-4 seconds out quicker than everybody else, and as soon as he caught the traffic, couldn't get through. But I think, actually, to be fair, when you consider it's Monaco, last place to 12th is a very good drive. So good stuff from Bearman. Just a shame he couldn't use the pace that he had. Colapinto 13th, another one who gained lots of places. So well done to him, but same problem with Bearman. Bortoleto, he made a great overtake around the outside of Kimi Antonelli on the opening lap. But then Antonelli immediately came back through at Portier. And Bortoleto probably should have conceded that position, but ended up in the wall. That cost us. He had to make 3 pit stops for a new front wing and then his usual mandatory 2 stops. So 14th, actually, all things considered for Bortoleto, a really decent result. Lance Stroll up 4 places, 15th place for him. He was another one that pitted early, didn't really work out. Nico Hulkenberg, he was 16th in the end. Yuki Tsunoda, he went as long as he could for his second stop a lap before Verstappen pitted, actually. Couldn't really do anything. He got caught in that gaggle behind the Racing Bulls, and then eventually the Williams cars ended up 17th. Not good at all. And Kimi Antonelli made 2 stops in quick succession. Only did 2 laps on the mediums before pitting again for the hards late on. Tried to go as long as he could, didn't work. Fernando Alonso, his engine failed. We think engine. Smoke was coming out the back of the car, having been up there in 7th place, I think, at the time. So the unluckiest man in the world, as he's already sort of crowned himself. Very unlucky again today. Otherwise, great drive for Fernando Alonso this weekend too. And Pierre Gasly, brake problems at the chicane, hit the back of Tsunoda, ripped the left front corner off his car, and that was game over for him, although not before he drove around the track, throwing debris everywhere for everybody else. So I'm sure the stewards will want a word on that one. In terms of the championship standings, Oscar Piastri is still top on 161 points, with Lando Norris now just 3 behind in second place on 158. Max Verstappen, he's still in there, 136 points, with George Russell no points today, of course, 99 in total. Leclerc now up to 79 and Hamilton on 63. It's 48 for Antonelli, 42 for Albon. I'm going to keep shaking my head at that. I can't believe that. What a start to the season. Ocon 20. Hadjar 15 as well, by the way. What a season he is having. It's been brilliant for him so far. Lance Stroll is still on 14 and the only Aston Martin scorer so far this season. Carlos Sainz now up to 12. Yuki Tsunoda only 10. 7 for Gasly, 6 for Hulkenberg, 6 for Bearman, 4 for Lawson. And then no points so far for Fernando Alonso. Franco Colapinto. It was only his second weekend, to be fair. And Gabriel Bortoleto. But Colapinto did move ahead of Bortoleto in the standings today because he got that 13th place, so well done to him for that. In the constructors, McLaren, give them the trophy now, you may as well. 319 points to Mercedes. 147, yeah, they've not scored today, so 147. 143 for Red Bull, 142 for Ferrari in 4th place there. That's a nice close fight. That's the battle for 3rd at the moment, could become 2nd if Mercedes continue to falter. We'll see. Williams, 54 points so far this season. 26 for Haas as well. They're both great totals for those two teams at this stage of the season. 22 for Racing Bulls, actually, as well. Aston Martin drop a place to 14th as Racing Bulls. Sorry, to 8th as Racing Bulls move ahead of them. They're on 14 points. It's 7 for Alpine and 6 for Sauber. Oh, there you go. That's your standings, your result, all of that one. Get your questions in. We'll do some reaction and we'll chat for a bit about this one, watch the podium and all of that as we usually do, and then we'll see where we are at. Didn't realise Ocon had that many points, says Lizzie. Yeah, he's had a great start to the season, Ocon as well. 20 so far, but he's still 22 behind Albon, who's absolutely blowing everyone out of the water in that midfield this season so far. At least Patrick Dempsey knows how to wave a flag. That's something, yeah, very, very true. Why did Max box on the last lap again? Says, is it Lynn? We'll say Lynn. Lynn. I'm trying to say the end, it's not coming out, but yeah, you know who you are. Just because he may as well have run long. The absolute worst case scenario for Verstappen was 4th place. So he was always going to end up there, whatever he did. If he pitted, he would have been 4th. If a safety car had come out, he would have been 4th if he pitted. So he may as well just hang fire, go as long as he possibly can by the regulations. Because if a red flag came out with 3 laps to go, they could change his tyres under the red flag, which means that he's made his second stop by the regulations, so he would be the race winner today. So it was absolutely all Red Bull could do. They weren't going to finish any higher than 4th without something happening. They weren't going to finish any lower, so they may as well take a chance. They did. It didn't work out this time. But on another day, there's a late red flag and they look like geniuses, so it's worth a go. It is worth a go. Red Bull trying to pull off a Ferrari, yeah, exactly. So very nearly, but not quite. Not quite. Where does that leave the Drivers' Championship points? I've just been through that, Craig. I know your comment probably came in a bit earlier, so I'll say it there. Then Norris risked a crash for nothing? Question mark, says Hansy. Did he crash? Did he risk a crash? What did I miss, Hansy? Tell me. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I'm sure you'll let me know. Who's your driver of the day then? Red Raven says Norris for driver of the day, Cork of the day, Lawson, bottle of the day, Mercedes, both of them and their strategy department. Yeah, it was not great, was it? I thought it was all going to fall apart for Norris, you know. After that first corner with that double lockup, I thought he'd struggle from there, but no, managed it very nicely. So there you go. Yeah. So, what can I say? My driver of the day... My driver of the weekend is Isaac Hadjar. He's really impressed me this weekend. So easy for a rookie to get it wrong at Monaco, isn't it? And he did a great job, so well done to him. But I think Norris managed it well. Had that lock-up at turn 1, so it is a mistake, but he managed to tie as well from that point. Was under threat from Leclerc, but clearly had pace in hand, so it's hard not to pick him there. But also, honourable mentions, by the way, Bearman up 8 places. I know it's only 12th place, but it's still up 8 places in Monaco, so I think that was... a good shout as well for an honourable mention. But yeah, it's Monaco. It's difficult not to give it to the race winner full stop, isn't it? So, yeah, there you go. Hadjar, easily driver of the day, says Alex for P6. Yeah, like I say, driver of the weekend for me. I was impressed with him through practice, through qualifying, and indeed the race as we just saw. So, has to be there. Korn says remove Monaco is useless. You can have a 0 stop or a 50 stop at Monaco, but it's always rubbish. He didn't use the word rubbish. I'll let you guess which one he used. Yeah, pants. Hadjar is impressive. Good to see Norris. He was back in form after the last few Grand Prix. Ocon impressive too, I guess, says Lizzie. Yeah, Ocon, a good shout as well too, Lizzie. Great performance today. I mean, Hamilton up 2 places in Monaco, yes, through pit stops, but that's not easy to do, is it, in Monaco? So credit where it's due and all that. But yeah, in terms of strategy of the day, you'd be tempted to say Williams because they both backed each other. They both played the game brilliantly, didn't they? But I just think that job that Lawson did early doors, I think Racing Bulls nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. So, yeah. No, not an Indy Watchalong, John. I've got to go and edit shorts because it's what the people want. Look, I'm an old man, okay? I may only be 39, but mentally I'm about 82, and I don't get the shorts thing. I never will. But Sam enjoys doing them. I'll clip up some stuff from the stream. I've got Thomas's to sort out for social, so I've got to go do that, unfortunately. I need to go and get my dinner and that and things like that before that video arrives. So, unfortunately, I can't. Otherwise, I would do 1 year, and it probably will have to be on another separate channel somewhere, so I might have to ask permission for that. But 1 year, I will encourage Jonty to do a Indy 500 watch-along with me, because I think that could be a lot of fun, and maybe even, and I keep thinking about this, maybe even doing a 24-hour Le Mans stream as well. I'm not sure I can cope with 24 hours, but that could be a lot of fun. One day in the future, maybe. So that could be quite fun. But yeah, not today, unfortunately, John. But definitely going to give it a watch in the background while I'm doing other things. So Indy 500, it gets a lot of hype, and I understand why. And it is a lot of fun, but it also has its lulls as well. That's racing, though, isn't it? So there you go. Hopefully, a Robert Schwartzman win. What a job he did, by the way. I told you he was a talent. There you go. Hadjar is a real deal, says Frank. So, full 25, says Michael. God, could you imagine that? That's a whole day of short. That's a lot of Sean. I just think Planet F1 should pay you to attend Monaco, Sean. I agree, Annette. I agree. But then we couldn't do this. So, there are very strict regulations in the paddock about what you can and can't do when it comes to media for whatever reasons. Probably Bernie hangovers to a point, but yeah. Oh, yeah, you could. I tell you what, John, you could do it like the 24. Sorry, we'll get back to the racing, but you could actually do the 24-hour stream like we do the testing streams, where it's me and then a different guest every so many hours. That would be great fun. So, yeah. But if you've got any questions, get them in the chat. I'll answer as many as I can. I'm guessing we need to talk about whether or not we thought that mandatory 2-stopper worked. So get your opinions in on that as well, and I'll have a think while we're sort of chatting, and I'll see what I can come up with. But I don't think, I've just seen in chat, sorry, Lizzie said all rookies did pretty well, actually. I don't think there are any rookies this season that have been absolutely abysmal. I don't think there's any rookie that has really disappointed me massively. people might say Jack Doohan, but I don't think he did a terrible job in Alpine. He wasn't great, but I don't think he did a terrible job. Colapinto's only had 2 races, and you might argue he's not a rookie. Same with Lawson, but he is technically. So, you know, he's only had a couple of races, can't really judge him. But I think Bortoleto's done okay at Sauber. He's not been great, but he's done okay up against Hulkenberg. Out-qualified him, I think, if I recall rightly, in their first weekend together. He's done well. I think Ollie Bearman's doing a great job at Haas up against a much trickier teammate than a lot of people in the F1 community will lead you to believe in. Esteban Ocon, he's a much better driver than people give him credit for. So he's doing a great job. I actually think Antonelli's doing well against Russell when you consider that there's a lot of pressure to replace Lewis Hamilton and go up against George Russell in a team that should, this weekend aside, be running towards the sharp end of the grid. He's doing a great job. Lawson, we agreed in the live streams he would be classed as a rookie for the first half of the season. He didn't do great at Red Bull. He seems to be starting to find his feet a bit more now at Racing Bulls, so that's good to see. And I think Isaac Hadjar has been absolutely fantastic this season, all things considered. So it's not been one of those years where there's been one rookie that's made me go, God, you're terrible. We've had some in the past, but we've not really had that. Yes, there have been those that have disappointed at some weekends, those that have excelled at some weekends. Some have been fine and nothing more than that, but there's nobody that's been absolutely awful. So I will say that, and I'm kind of enjoying that this season. But Isaac Hadjar in Monaco, what a performance, and what a performance since that crash on the formation lap in Melbourne. He really has bounced back from that so well, and it's no wonder that the links for next season to Red Bull, God help him, are already there. But he's a talent, clearly, and I think let's give him the time. Let's not rush him through. Give him the time. Let him have the full season at Racing Bulls. Let him cut his teeth in that midfield. Keep doing what he's doing. Let his stock rise and then look at him for next year. But let's not make any hasty decisions to swap mid-season. Just give him the time he needs. But great stuff from Hadjar and a really good job from most of the rookies this season. And I think, yeah, Bortoleto crashed on the first lap. You know, fair enough. But I don't think they've all been terrible at all this weekend in Monaco either, so credit where it's due for those rookies. But we've certainly got some good young talent on the grid and some good young talent coming through F2 as well. So the future is bright, as they say. Yeah, Nick says that, okay, I agree with Hadjar. He's the best rookie by far. Yeah. Nick says, are you kidding? I think all the rookies have been disappointing. I completely disagree, Nick. Like I say, I'm not saying anyone's been amazing apart from maybe a Hadjar, for example. But I don't. You look at some of the rookies we've had where they've just been so meh this season. You know, Bortoleto in his first weekend out-qualified Nico Hulkenberg. Not many drivers do that. Kevin Magnussen struggled to do that at times. Much more experienced. So I think he's done a good job. I'm not saying they are world beaters. I'm not expecting a Bortoleto title in 5 years' time or anything like that. But I think they've all done a good job. Bearman up against a far more experienced teammate in Ocon. I think he's done a good job. I'm not giving them titles and proclaiming them world beaters already. I'm just saying, considering the number of rookies we had, it would have been very easy for a couple to have been dreadful, but no one's been dreadful, if that makes sense. But yeah, I also agree. I'm not worried about driving talent anyway. F1's much bigger problem. I actually agree with that, Nick, as well. I've said it before. I think I touched on it yesterday. I'm not going to get into it today. That's a story for another day. I don't entirely like the way the sport is heading in terms of the calendar. I don't like the way the sport is heading in terms of next year's regulations. I think the obsession with net zero from F1, I understand why they're going for it, but I think they're hypocrites with it. You know, net zero, but here, we're going to go and race here. We're going to fly on our private jets to go there, you know. Hang on a second. So I don't like that. I think that's BS. The Wii Racers 1 stuff was all a load of bollocks. We know that. So I don't like the way it's been going the last couple of years. I don't like the way it's going, but hopefully it'll find some sort of common sense. And I'm not asking for, you know, removing the halos, going back to small cars. Let's have lots of crashes where people get hurt or anything stupid like that. I'm not that kind of person. And it's not about roasted spectacles. I just don't like the way the sport's going. So let's hope I'm wrong about 2026 is all I'm saying. But yeah, not great. Net zero, not counting the planes, and the trucks and the freights and God, whatever else, you know, a net zero, yeah, a net's definitely not a zero, a net's a 10. We love a net, so there you go. Yeah, as long as they are not the great Mahavir bad, they are doing brilliantly well for rookie society canvas. Yeah, just to confirm again, I mean, me and Nick, we have very different opinions on some things and we agree on others. That's why I love this channel. I'm quite happy to do that with everyone and have debates. But considering there's so many rookies on the grid, like I say, it would have been so easy for one of them to be absolutely diabolical, and no one's been diabolical yet. We are only a third of the way into the season. Give it another 2/3. We might turn around after Abu Dhabi and go, my God, Bortoleto was awful, or oh my God, what went wrong with Bearman or whatever. But at the moment, I don't think they've really disappointed me that much as I thought they would. Usually when you get a lot of rookies, you'll get a couple that are really good, you'll get one or two that are meh, and then you'll get one or two that are terrible. But I don't think we've got that just yet. So yeah. Yes, CPB has a question. What's the verdict, folks, on the two-stop thing? Let me know in chat. What do you reckon? And then I will and then I'll sort of put together what I'm thinking. I'm just trying to think about it a bit more, but yeah. I don't know. It's. I mean, Red Raven says it worked to the barest minimum. Oh, I don't know, chat. I don't. It's difficult because I don't think the mandatory two-stop didn't work. If that's even a sentence that makes any sense at all. If you know what I mean, it didn't not work. And it was better than I thought it was going to be. I was very skeptical coming into this weekend. Didn't think it would make any difference at all. But it definitely made a difference. And it was certainly more entertaining than everyone pitting on lap one and not pitting again and then having to watch that snooze fest that was the 2024 Monaco Grand Prix. So we still had that. But we only really had that because teams like Racing Bulls and Williams decided to drive insanely slowly, which a lot of people do around Monaco anyway, as we've seen in the past, but drive insanely slowly to make the strategy work. So their teammate could pit twice, then their teammate lets them through, and then they back up. They let their teammate through, sorry. Then they back everybody up again, and then they make their two. So it didn't really. It was better than I thought it was going to be, but I'm still not sold on it at all. I think if you'd have just had that race run as normal with no backing everybody up, it would have just been leader pits, next one pits, next one pits, and that's all it would have been. It wouldn't have made any difference at all. So it needed Racing Bulls and Williams to play silly beggars, let's say, in that midfield and backing everybody up. But to the point where I think a couple of times, as I say, Alex Albon in particular maybe was just about on the line, which is okay in F1. You could be on the line, but I think he was pretty close to going over the line a couple of times with those braking moves and things like that. But without all of that, it didn't really change anything. So you could even have that in a one-stop race if you wanted to. There's nothing to stop. Let's say they get rid of this rule for next year. Alex Albon could sit in 9th place and Carlos Sainz in 10th, and they still need to make their one stop, and they could do the same again next year. So they could have still tried that. But there was a lot of safety car hanging, a lot of red flag hanging. It's different. I can't sit here and say it was bad as an idea because parts of it worked, but I don't think it's the way forward in its current guise. Maybe just a couple of changes, maybe a couple of tweaks. Get rid of maybe bring in the F2 rule where if you change your tyres under a red flag, it doesn't count as your stop. You have to make 2 stops, not run 2 different compounds. That way, no one's hanging for a red flag, which might make it more interesting. But I'm not sold on it. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was great. What I will say, and I guess this is the ultimate answer, really, isn't it? It was better than last year, and this rule was brought in because they didn't want a race as bad as last year. So in that sense, it was a success, and it did keep things interesting. But it was interesting because I was watching lap times, who was driving slowly, who was pushing hard, who had pitted twice, who had pitted once, who hadn't pitted at all. It wasn't exciting from a track action point of view. I spent way more time watching the timing than I did watching the racing, and that maybe isn't the ultimate win. But if the goal was for it to be better than last year's race, and that's why they brought it in, then it's hard to argue that it didn't work, because it did. I didn't like it. But then I'm also a really grumpy old man, and I like what I know, and I know what I like. I likes what I knows and I knows what I likes. That's basically it. It's how I am as an old man, but I don't know. I know I'm not old. I get told off by people I know, but I feel it. So there you go. Yeah. So I guess that's my overall point there. And I'll wrap it up a bit more cleanly for everybody. But if the goal was, which it was to bring this mandatory two-stop in to make it more interesting than last year's race, because last year was really bad, then it worked. But I wasn't an overwhelming supporter of it, as I think I've made clear in that. Do you know what I mean? It's not something I'm sold on, but it's not something I'm totally against. So let's see what people's reaction is in the coming weeks, whether F1 decide to continue with that next year or make some tweaks to it. I imagine the teams hated every second of it around Monaco, but if all it's going to do is give us Alex Albon or Carlos Sainz or Liam Lawson or Isaac Hadjar, whoever, whilst it's great strategy play to the rules, if all it's going to give us is cars backing everybody up and they go 2 laps down, it causes problems at the front with traffic and everyone just waits for safety cars and red flags or whatever, then maybe it's not the thriller that they're hoping it will be. But more interesting than most Monaco, so a win overall. But again, if the goal was to improve on last year's race, they've done that, but it wasn't exactly a particularly high bar, was it, to be better than last year's race? So what are you saying in chat? Let's see what you say. Monaco predates Formula 1 by 21 years. Monaco Grand Prix to scrap Formula 1, not the other way around, says Nick. I was paying attention to Tsunoda for exactly that reason. Kevin was so yeah, Monaco was missing Flavio there. I said it says sighted canvas. Exactly. I made that joke earlier in the stream. Did F1 from Monaco make it an F3 exclusive race like Macau? I think you said that in the comments today, didn't you, Red Raven, or possibly yesterday. Respect to George Russell, he brought a track limits controversy into the Monaco Grand Prix. That's a great point from Farty Goldfalls. Yeah, I like that one. Since they're trying new things, maybe a Joker lap. Maybe it's hard to make it in Monaco, but there's more seats to sell. Pascal says a third of the season done. It's been enjoyable so far. I'm looking forward to the updates from Sauber next weekend. Need a bit more pace, but overall it is better than last season so far. Is there a way of adding a spot to overtake somehow, says the net? And Craig Tucker says the Monaco track has to change. Couple there. How do we change it? It has to change. Where? I saw somebody say yesterday that we're talking about moving the Nouvelle chicane, get rid of it, but then you've got no runoff at Tabac. So, you're carrying a lot more speed. If you're going from Portier at turn 8 all the way to Tabac at turn 12 with no braking zone, you're going to have runoff down there, and there's nowhere for runoff, so they can't really remove the chicane. The funny thing is, one of the best overtaking spots in theory is that chicane. So maybe, rather than removing the Nouvelle chicane, why don't we sort that barrier out on the inside, move that back a bit, and then maybe just slightly reprofile that, because you've got all of that runoff area on the inside. You could maybe reprofile it to make it a bit tighter so it becomes more of a proper overtaking spot rather than a half overtaking spot. That could be an option. There's lots of ways you could change Monaco in theory, but then you start to look at the practical side of it, the runoff areas you might need if you've got a long run to a corner, a particularly long run to a corner, or the buildings you need to demolish. Maybe reclaim some more land in the harbour, which they have done for those flats. Maybe they could do that for the track. I don't know, but it's a tricky track to change. But I think there is a lot of merit to the time trial idea a lot of people put forward for Monaco. It's not racing, but if the race is basically decided on a Saturday for the most part, then why not let that be where the points are scored? Have some sort of event. Maybe you have a one-shot qualifying on a Saturday, or no, you have a normal qualifying on a Saturday, which dictates the running order for one-shot qualifying on the Sunday, and the one-shot qualifying we hand out points for, maybe even half points or something similar to that. I don't know, but I did just want to check something, because this is what I was just thinking just a second ago. So Lando Norris won the race. He started P1. Leclerc finished P2. He started P2. Piastri started P3. He finished P3. Verstappen started P4. He finished P4. Hadjar started P5. He dropped to P6 because Hamilton moved up a couple of places. Hamilton would have been, by the way, bearing in mind Hamilton without the penalty would have been top 5. So there you go. So Hadjar P5 ended up P6. Alonso retired. P7 was Ocon, who started P8 Alonso retired, so that covers that. P8 was Lawson, who started P9. P9 was Albon, who started P10. And P11 was Carlos Sainz, who started... P10 was Carlos Sainz, who started P11. So, what's that done at the front? Alonso retires, so everyone moves up a place anyway. So that covers that. And then in the top 5, Lewis Hamilton, without his penalty, would have been top 5 anyway. So if you put Hamilton back in 4th place and Verstappen 5th, Hadjar would have been 6th, which is where he finished. I know, grandmother, wheels, bicycle, all of that. Ocon would have been 7th, which is where he finished. Would have been 7th anyway. Yeah, with Alonso's retirement, it's not really changed anything in the top 10. When you look at it like that, I didn't even think about that. I've only just realised. So you put Hamilton, I'll just work this out in my head now. So Hamilton goes back to 4th, Verstappen drops to 5th, Hadjar to 6th, Alonso would go to 7th, then he retires, which moves Ocon up to 7th. Yeah, it's Alonso's retirement and Lewis Hamilton returning to the top 5 is the only thing that's happened in the top 10. It felt like a lot more happened with all the strategy going on, but that's ultimately what it's done. So, again, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bike. Or she would have been a bike. But no penalty for Hamilton. You know, it doesn't really change anything. So I don't know. I think you might see what I'm getting at there. It's not done enough there. Behind, it was interesting, but it's just drivers driving stupidly off the pace, and that's just not thrilling to me. F1, for the most part, especially about speed. So that's what I was saying. The tyre changes were good, but not much changed, isn't it? Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't realise that, honestly, until I actually started to look through the timing there. So I guess I'll get that back up again, and we'll just say that again, actually, just to clarify for anyone who's popping in later to have a listen and doesn't know what I'm on about. It's easier when live because I can clarify it straight away. Not everyone keeps listening when I've made a stupid point, which is quite often, to be fair. But if you look at it's Alonso's retirement and Hamilton making up the places he lost through the pit stops because of his penalty that have changed anything in the top 10. Otherwise, the strategy hasn't done a thing. So, I guess if the goal was to make it more interesting than last year's Monaco race, they've succeeded. But actually, when you dig a little bit deeper, it's not really changed anything. So, what's the point? Let me know in chat. Do you find it entertaining when you've got an Alex Albon or a Carlos Sainz or a Liam Lawson driving 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds off the pace to back everyone up so that their teammate can make their stop? Because don't forget, I think Hadjar did about 5 laps on a set of or somebody did about 5 laps on a set of mediums and then pitted again pretty much straight afterwards because they managed to build that gap up in 5 laps. Is that entertaining for you? Unintentionally, yes, says CP, but yeah, accidental entertainment. I love that. Accidentally entertaining. Because had Russell not cut that corner, had Antonelli not nearly gone into the back of Albon, would that have been entertaining? Would that have made it... Do you know what I mean? It's only the fact that Russell tried to break the rules and then claim that he went into the back of Albon that got interesting. Otherwise, it's just cars driving slowly in the middle of the track. Yeah. They need to put a rule in to stop them doing that, absolutely, but it's difficult to do, Stuart, because it's strategy, isn't it? That's the thing. How do you stop it? That's the problem. I'm going to put a fan on in a minute. I'm getting really hot. I found it entertaining when it was Magnussen on the track where overtaking was still possible, but here, meh. Yeah, exactly, Lizzie. Somewhere where it's actually possible to overtake, it's more of a skill, isn't it, to keep cars behind? So that does become entertaining because somebody could make a move, whereas here, you just need to park it in the middle of the track, and there's nothing you can do to get through. So, yeah, Foot says there is a rule, driving unnecessarily slowly, but as long as you stay just the right side of that rule, then that's fine, isn't it? They can't really do anything about it. So you could say blocking, but I didn't find it thrilling. But again, for the 5th or 6th time in the last 10 minutes, it was better than last year. But again, that's not really a high bar to clear. So it's, yeah, I don't know. I think It depends what the drivers think and the teams think and the FIA and FOM think. They might decide that the added danger, if you like, of the accidents might put them off it. They might decide that they loved it because it's going to be nice and controversial and get everyone talking, like the sprints, because that's the only reason it's still on the calendar, is because they get engagement either way. So I just... Okay, that's interesting. Carlos Sainz. Live reaction to Carlos Sainz. He's just said that he doesn't know how it worked at the front, but in the midfield it backfired. It says, I'm a massive fan of trying different things. We tried it. It didn't work. It made it worse. And then he said what you've already said in chat. You are all Carlos Sainz to me now. He said maybe we need to forbid the pace manipulation. So Carlos Sainz thinks it backfired in the midfield, which is what we were just saying, because it was all too slow. So I'm going to have to try somehow and chop all this up into a short, because I think this is what people want to have a conversation about afterwards. But I don't really... sport is supposed to be about competition, not entertainment, says Nick. Key word, and you know the key word I'm going to say immediately, Nick, in your sentence, supposed to be. 3 words, I suppose. It's supposed to be. It's not anymore. And we're seeing it more and more in... Sorry. We're seeing it more and more in football with VAR. Decisions that make no sense because they're entertaining. Yeah, I'm afraid. There's a deeper conversation to be had here about life in general and manipulation, and maybe with all the information we have now, maybe that makes manipulation easier to spot. I don't know, but that is definitely a conversation for another day. Maybe this has always been around, but I guess, would you say then, chat? No, that's the wrong question. What was I going to say? Do you think it felt more artificial? I'll tell you what, let's do a poll first. But do you think that it's been made more artificial with that? So, do you think... I'm just going to say one sentence. Did the two-stop rule work? I'll give you 3 options because I'm generous. I'll say yes, no, and... brace yourself. We're just going to go with meh. As in, yeah, it sort of didn't, sort of didn't. So... For you, vote for you. Not do you think it worked for the drivers or for the teams? Do you think it worked? Did you like it? Something that you were on for? But yeah, it's definitely not pure racing anymore. But then you can, DRS is an argument there. I will say as well, super quickly on 2026, this is definitely a conversation for the summer, I think, or maybe even over the winter. But the 2026 rules, the fact that Christian Horner is already pushing, ironically, for a push to pass for next season. I love the idea of a push to pass over DRS because it's got a strategic element to it. But the fact that they're already talking about push to pass says to me that these smaller cars in that next year aren't going to work for racing, which means the rules have failed already. But anyway, there you go. Yes, it worked, but it was a band-aid, not a permanent solution. That's a fair point as well from Nick there. Sport is about entertainment. Commercial sport is about entertainment first, because that's the whole reason for money coming in. F1 is not the Olympics. It's an engaging sport where car brands entertain for marketing reasons. Yeah, it sells itself as a sport, though, Curious. I completely get what you're saying, and I actually don't disagree, but it bills itself as a sport. If it wants to bill itself as an entertainment thing, then go down the WWE route and just do it that way and make it clear that this is for entertainment, because... yeah. What does the E stand for in WWE, by the way? Enterprise? I don't know why that's just come to me. I used to know it's just when it was WWF back in the good old days. I don't know what the E stands for. Let me know. Push to pass DRS, 15 uses per race in defense or attack. Make it tactical rather than automatic use, says Warner's End. That's a good way to... Is it entertainment? I did wonder. That's quite funny. There you go. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. I think 15 uses per race or X amount of time per race. You can hold that button for, 30 seconds a race or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, that's interesting. Thank you. I didn't know that was entertainment, but now I know. Now, totally artificial. There we go. I'll leave that vote up for a little while. I've tried to throw my thoughts together on that. It is, I will say it is difficult straight after the race without all the data to look at and all the feedback and everything like that to really sit down and go, this is what I think, but I've tried to sort of articulate it the best I can in the waffly way that I do. But if you're just tuning in, my answer on that 2-stop mandatory rule thing is it worked in the sense that it did make the race better than last year, or at least more entertaining than last year, which wasn't a very high bar to clear. But when you actually dig deeper into where people were on the grid, you look at where everybody ended up, actually it didn't really change a lot in the top 10, and it relied on the midfield. As Carlos Sainz said, it actually backfired in the midfield. It relied on the midfielders just driving really slowly in order to make the strategy work. So maybe tweaks for next year. I would say if they put it to the fans, which they won't, but if they did, and the vote was, do we keep it for next year? My answer would be no, not in its current form, but let's see what they decide. Just don't put a sprint in Monaco. I fear that's what the next thing will be to try. A sprint race weekend in Monaco does not work. And I can tell you that, and we've never even had one. I know it doesn't work, so there you go. They already have push to pass. They've sort of, it's ERS mode, isn't it? Your deployment, but it's not the same as an actual push to pass that we get in other things. But yeah, it's not quite the same thing, but it is. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Better to call F1 a game than a sport, in my opinion. I guess you could count it as a sport if chess is a sport. So curious. Well, darts is a sport, but I would call that a game. Snooker's a sport, but I would call that a game. Not to slag those sports off, I like both those sports, but I would say they're games. And also argue if I could do it, it's not a sport, but that's a completely different thing. Kevin can't believe WWE is fake. He thought it was real. There you go. One thing I'd like is for the cars that are 2 laps down to go out of the race. Don't see the point, says Green Line Antiques. Trouble with that is I see the point, but the problem is if you then get a safety car, they can unlap themselves and it brings them back into the race. So although 2 laps down, maybe not. You've got a point there, maybe. You can't take 2 laps back, can you? So otherwise safety car's out forever. So maybe, yeah. But then having said that, Albon was 2 laps down and he got 2 points. Sainz was 2 laps down, he got 1 point. So there were points on the board there as well. So if someone's, 20th, 2 laps down, about to get lapped for a 3rd time, maybe. But yeah, Albon was 2 laps down and scored points. So get rid of F1. Says Nick. Oh, yeah, get rid of it. You can't fix Monaco, says Corn. I don't think you can. And the funny thing is as well, maybe we don't need to. That's going to be popular, isn't it? Thank God all the moaners have left and it's just us moaners instead. I don't think... Do we need to? Can Monaco not just be its own thing? There are some purpose-built circuits that are bloody dreadful. So... Perplex says, what a race. I fell asleep twice. At least you got some kip. That's all that matters. I'll do a few more minutes, then I'm going to go because the Indy's on in an hour, I think. So I need to get some stuff done, and then you guys are going to want to go off and watch that as well. So I am just going to mute that because I think Jensen Button has a cold. Let me know if that's been confirmed officially, whether or not he's got a cold. But he doesn't sound particularly well, bless him. But I can't be asked to listen to Sky's punditry. But yes, I am backing Robert Schwartzman today in the old. Oh, just tune in as we hit the post. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm not sorry. I am backing Schwartzman today. I've always liked Robert Schwartzman, big fan. So please see him on pole. Hopefully, gets a win. But anything can happen. Marcus Ericsson won it once, then he won it bloody twice, didn't he? So anything can happen in the 500. Monaco is better than Indy because it has right-hand turns, says farted golf balls. Don't blast Sky's unbiased punditry, says CPB. Oh, my God. Right. One moan. I'm allowed one moan per stream about Sky, okay? Yesterday in qualifying, they were at pains to try and explain why Lewis Hamilton crashing in practice was not his fault. I'm sorry. Lewis Hamilton came out and said it was his mistake. He took responsibility. It was a crash. It happens in Monaco. It can happen to a 7-time world champion. It can happen to somebody in their first weekend. It just happens. Why? Does it have to be, it was the dirty air. He was distracted. His peripheral vision. Shut up. For goodness sake. Says everyone watching this to me, but I can't do it. Had that been Verstappen in the wall, or Piastri, or Hadjar, or I don't know, Colapinto, it would have been a very different story. But yeah, he crashed. End of. It happens. Monaco been elimination. Monaco could be an elimination race, says Kevin. One where you get lapped. If you're lapped, you are out. Yeah. No. Last time we tried elimination, anything in F1, it was a disaster, so let's not give them that idea. Night Annette, I am finishing shortly, Annette. Don't worry, I'm not going to stay here all night moaning, but thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, have a good one. Have a good sleep, and I'll talk to you, if not before, next weekend for the quali watch-along and the race watch-along for Spain. Oh, the weekend, it's all going to change if we believe the pundits with the new technical directive, etc. Yeah, I do have to pay. Yeah, I have to pay Chamber royalties every time I say dirty air, and that's song in my head for the rest of the weekend. Thank you so much. I prefer Channel 4 to Sky as well, but yeah, I haven't seen a lot of the F1 TV punditry, but I imagine it's better as well. So there you go. But yeah, any questions before I log off? Then Spain, yes. What a triple header, by the way. Imola, Monaco, and Spain. More of that, please. Any questions before I finish for the day? Then hopefully. I'm not even going to read that farty golf balls. I can't be bothered with the backlash. There's not many here, but there'll be people that watch later and give me grief for that one. But yeah, Red Raven's going to catch up on the Nürburgring. I caught the British F4 today on ITV4, which was cool. So, make Monaco even more narrow so we get more crashes, says Corn. Crashes do spice it up, don't they, a little bit? So, they said the dirty air didn't help. Not that was the reason. No, there was definitely Stuart. There will have been those saying it didn't help, but there were others that were poking that as the reason. It definitely came across that way to me. Maybe I'm being sceptical in my old age. I don't know, but yeah. There's always an excuse for some drivers, depending on their flag. But there you go. Each their own, I guess. Artificial rain for Monaco. No. Banana peels job done. Yes, I'll go with that one. Also, all sorts of Mario Kart stuff we could carry on. Kevin says Karoon said it was the dirty. Yeah, was it Karoon? I can't remember who it was. I haven't got the. I might go back and watch it, and then I'll correct myself next week. See if Stuart's got a point, or if Kevin's got a point. It's the battle we've all been waiting for: Kevin versus Stuart. Who's right about Sky F1? Dun dun dun. Do either of you care? I don't think you do, really, do you? What a race, Fantastic twice read that one. What happens if you're down a lap and a red flag is called? That's from Kaiba. You get put to the front of the safety car queue and you get to go round and unlap yourself and join the back of the queue. Unless they've changed that, I don't know. Do chess, snooker, and darts change their rules to get more viewers all the time? Who was the guy who inserted something in himself allegedly for chess? That was a change of rules, I suppose. That was a cheeky way to do it. I'm gonna have to turn the lights off. It's getting too hot in here, and then I'm gonna log off. Turn that one off. There we go. That'll help. Snooker, not really. They have different. I mean, cricket tried, didn't they? With the 2020 on the 100 and all that lot, which seems to go down quite well. So, there you go. How is your driver's champion at this point? Says Corn. Which one? It's a good question, Corn. Which one, mate? I want Verstappen or Piastri to win it. So, 3 points clear at the top is Piastri, and Verstappen's still in there, 136 points. So there you go. That's how they sit at the moment. But I think we're going to wrap it up there because I'm getting hot again, and you don't need to see me being a massive sweaty rubber Johnny full of custard, as Aid Edmondson referred to Rip Mail once on bottom. There you go. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for joining me on the stream today. What have we got coming up? So there'll be a short from Thomas on socials tonight. There'll be something from me as well at some point. There's going to be some twisting and changes to schedule anyway, so I'll let you know what's going to happen there at some point in the near future. I'll not leave you guessing on that one for too much longer, but yeah, I am going to end it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you drop a like before you go as well, please. Unlikely we're going to do it, but one more like and we get exactly the same number of likes as the viewers right now, so that'd be quite cool. So please do drop a like before you go, and subscribe if you are new. Lots to come this season, and over the course of this season as well, over the course of the season and the next week as well, with Spain next weekend, preview Thursday, shorts throughout the week, streams on Saturday and Sunday, and then we'll see where we are after that one. But yeah, great. I've really enjoyed your company. Great chat as well. Looks like we're in agreement pretty much for the most part over the two stoppers, sort of, but not really. In fact, the poll, 12% said yes, 45% said no, and 43% said meh. So I think we're all kind of in agreement on that one. But yeah, I'm going to go. Enjoy the Indy 500 if you're watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, weekend, whatever you've got coming up. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word. And until next time, goodbye.